I'm so sorry that I was 1 minute late. I'm just like a little bit frazzled. Last minute, I was like, I kind of want to take a shower because I made quesadillas on the Blackstone and it was just like kind of chaotic out there. So I just like felt really hot and I wanted to take a shower, but I didn't really have time to do that. So give me a moment to gather myself. I need to set up TikTok live, but that will merely take a couple of seconds. And then I'm going to pour myself a little, drink, a non-alcoholic drink, of course. And I'm not even lying. I just lately every time I drink alcohol, I feel like I sleep weird. So I'm like, maybe we don't do that for a little bit and see how that goes for us. I'm so excited for tonight. I put literally like blood, sweat, and tears into these slides because drinking a Celsius in your honor. It's been a minute since I've had Celsius, and I think I need to have it. Like, I think that's why I haven't been getting that much done, is because I haven't been drinking Celsius. But anyway, I put blood, sweat, and tears into these slides. I literally, like, I haven't made slides like this in so long, and it felt really, really good because I love these. And like I said, I did just eat quesadillas, so I'm apologizing for the fact that I'm probably going to burp a million times, and I'm drinking a soda, so that's really great and awesome. Like, it's so crazy to me that, like, when you think about the fact that I'm just burping in front of a ton of people right now, and that's just, like, fine for me. We've updated, oh my God, it, like, wants to be updated, but if you guys can see and, like, everything's fine, I think it's fine. I don't think we need to update it right now. A dispensary parking lot, 21-month streak, living and loving that for us. Let me make this guy a little bit bigger. Kerchow. Boom, boom. Thank you for subscribing. What was I about to say? Thank you to everyone that has donated to Dr. Sofyan. I need to make more TikToks. I don't know why I keep forgetting. I'm literally like the biggest garbage rat ever. But we've raised a lot of money so far. I'm impressed that we're already a third of the way there, but unfortunately we're only a third of the way there. So please continue, scan that. For those of you on YouTube, the link is in my link tree. I'll double check that that's on YouTube right now. If it's not, like, literally cyberbully the shit out of me. If you can't find it, I'll send it to you. There's a gnat flying around in here. Let me go ahead and pour my little drink. Actually, let me wait for this gnat to fuck off. God. So, we have 96 slides, and a lot of them are videos. So, let's go ahead and freaking get into it. This is Miss Sarah Palin of Alaska. Have you watched Real Housewives of DC? I have not. So, let me tell you the Real Housewives I've watched. Is that a spider? I just feel like so much is happening in this room. Like, why do I feel like I'm literally outside right now and there's so many bugs? It's freaking summer. So I have seen all of Real Housewives Beverly Hills, all of Real Housewives Salt Lake City. I'm watching Atlanta right now. I don't know what season I'm on. I had seen the first, like, 5 seasons of Atlanta. I had seen those a lot of times, but I had never gotten past, like, season 5 or 6. I think now I'm on, like, 8 or 9 or something, and I'm gonna watch it, like, all the way to present day, so don't spoil Atlanta for me. Real Housewives of the OC, I am on season 13, so I'm not close to being caught up, because they just had season 18. I muted everything Real Housewives of the OC on Twitter because I was seeing the trailer the other day and I was like, literally, no, I'm in the past. Like, where I'm watching it of Real Housewives of the OC, that's like my primary show right now is Real Housewives of the OC. Like, I watch that for probably like 3 hours a day. Like, I just have it on all the time. I used to watch it when I worked out, but now I'm doing a really hard workout program that I have to, like, pay attention to, so I can't watch TV while I do it, which is fucking awful. What was I about to say? So yeah, Real Housewives of the OC is like kind of my entire brain right now. It like took over from Vanderpump Rules and now it's Real Housewives of the OC. And I'm on season 13 and it's like 2015. So it's like pretty recent, but not that recent. That is, oh my God, 2015 was like almost 10 years ago. So anyway, that was a lot. Like, that was a lot. This is my first live stream. When is initiation? This gnat literally, like, I fly into the sun directly. Should we haze? What's our stance on hazing? Do we want to be a hazing community? Probably not, I would think, but this is a democracy before anything else. So anyway, for anyone living under a rock, we've been here for 4 minutes. We have a lot to do. I'm just really feeling like off my rocker today. I think it's also, are there 2 different bugs in here? What is happening? I know why there's bugs in here, because we just put plants in here. Someone tell me what to do. They're going to drive me crazy and they want to be here because of all of the lights. Maybe if I turn the lights on for a little bit, like in the room, I think I might have gotten one of them. Anyway, we're just going to soldier on. Like, worse human suffering has been endured. So, Sarah Palin. That was probably the most chaotic thing you guys have ever watched. Sarah Palin is an American politician. I think that's probably the most respectful thing we could call her. An American politician, commentator, author, reality TV personality. She was the 9th governor of Alaska. That's hilarious that they'd only had 9 governors up to 2006. Like that. Alaska, I feel like, is kind of a very odd place. This is fitting with our Alaska stream. That's what made me think of this. Oh, I have little sticky traps, but I don't have them in here because there weren't plants in here. So I think I just need to put one in here, which I'm not going to do right now. I have the ones that plug in and they're blue and it has the sticky on it. They work so well, but they're just not in here, which explains why there's bugs in here. So anyway, she was the 9th governor of Alaska from 2006 until she resigned in 2009. She was the 2008 Republican vice presidential nominee alongside John McCain, who was running for president. This is a picture of her from that era. So for anyone that is like, I have no idea who this person is at all, like if anyone here is like not American or just like was young during this time, that is who it is. The ads on Twitch kill me every time. I'm so sorry about that. I really hate that. I love money, but I hate that. So that is so good. Her maiden name is Sarah Louise Heath. She was born in Sandpoint, Idaho. I don't know why I thought she was an Alaska native. Don't know why I thought that. She is the 3rd of 4 children, 3 daughters, 1 son. Her mom was a school secretary and her dad was a science teacher and a track and field coach. I hate when I am doing a stream about someone and their parent is a teacher because I'm like, how did you fuck them up this bad? Like, I thought we kind of had like a level of decorum between us. When Sarah Palin was a few months old, she moved to Alaska. Okay, so I guess that qualifies, but for her camp being like, we need to see Obama's birth certificate, she has a lot of Alaska pride. That's all I'm going to say on that. That's all I'm going to speak on that. For a new ass state that you just moved to, you're being pretty particular about other people's status. I don't know if she actually said that, but I know her friends did. So I'm going to group her in with them. Well, they were a teacher in Idaho. Idaho, no Idaho. She lived in Wasilla. I lived there too. Oh yeah, she was Miss Wasilla. Literally, we will discuss. So then they relocated to Eagle River and then Anchorage in 1969, and they settled in Wasilla in 1972. She played the flute in the junior high band. She went to Wasilla High School where she was head of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Do they compete against other Christian athletes, other kids in general, or other specific religions? Because what I think they should be doing is it's like the Christian athletes against like the Buddhist athletes. Like, let's really get down to it. Like, if y'all want to religiously segregate yourselves for sports, let's compete that way. If that's what you want, if you want to prove that your God is supreme, you will be willing to play against another religion. You know what I mean? Y'all had this? This isn't just an Alaska thing? Oh my God. So, she was a member of the girls' basketball and cross-country running teams. During her senior year, she was co-captain and point guard of the basketball team that won the 1982 Alaska State Championship, earning the nickname Sarah Barracuda for her competitive streak. Sarah Barracuda. I want to say it's a stripper name, but it's not. It's like not sexual. It's just funny. Love a sparkling lemonade. The way I wanted to be an FCA so bad, but I didn't play sports or believe in God, babe. Those are all the requirements. Sarah Barracuda, I've got to use that in a meme. Literally, my last slide says that I have given you all such incredible meme material that I'm expecting you to fucking bring it. I should have put it at the beginning, but I'm expecting you to bring it. So this is a young Sarah Palin holding shrimp in Alaska. I will say the fit is fitting. I do love that outfit. This is her in the countryside. This is her with the dog. The family dog Rufus sniffs out two Partmijans, is that a bird? It looks like a bird. On a successful hunting trip, Sarah Barracuda. It says Palin's on the left, but I don't know. I feel like, was she blonde? When did that happen? That's her seeing Russia from her backyard. There is Palin. I am not sure which one she is here. Sorry. Can't tell. So, in 1984, she won the Miss Wasilla beauty pageant. She finished third as second runner-up in the Miss Alaska pageant, where she won the title of Miss Congeniality. That's so embarrassing. I just won Miss Congeniality like 3 weeks ago. My school gave out awards, and I got Miss Congeniality, which was like literally iconic. And they gave me like, I would show it to you, but it literally has like our fucking address on it practically. Like a big crystal trophy. Like a nice one. I can't believe me and Sarah Palin both won Miss Congeniality. I guess so did Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock and Sarah Palin kind of have the same energy. I feel like Sandra Bullock is like the more liberal version of Sarah Palin. You know what I mean? The basketball hair was kind of a sleigh. So, where was I? She played the flute in the talent portion of the contest. That tracks. We saw she was playing the flute earlier. Glad to see she's adding up. And one author reports that she received the Miss Congeniality Award, but this is disputed by another contestant and a college scholarship. So maybe she didn't win Miss Congeniality. Maybe I still have that to claim as my own. I just brought... Oh, I have headphones plugged in. I just brought my school keyboard home, so if you see me like fucking up, it's because I've only had this keyboard for one day. And I always say that. It just like takes a long time for me to get used to keyboards, I think. So because I was about to press the volume on it and I realized it's not there. I have to do it on the screen. This is her swimsuit. This is her swimsuit competition. I do want to defend myself that I did not mean to sexualize Sarah Palin, but this was the only video that I could find. And I think it's the only video I could find because other people are sexualizing Sarah Palin. For the record, I fucking looked for the flute video. Couldn't find it. Couldn't find it.
Sarah says that she wants to prepare for a career in television broadcasting by majoring in telecommunications and political science. It is no wonder that she has also been recognized by Who's Who, since she has displayed her leadership in all areas from academics to student politics to athletics, having led her basketball team to the championship of the state tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, contestant number 8, Sarah Heaton.
Quality check for everyone. How's the sound? How's the Wi-Fi? How's it bumping? One person said they're having a rough time, but no one else has said anything, so I'm hoping we're all okay, because I don't know what I would do if we're not. Tuning in live from the nail salon. Oh my god, when I posted on Instagram that I was screaming at the stream numbers being down, so many of y'all took that personal. I didn't mean it, you all. I was just like thinking about when I was in corporate and I would lock myself in the closet at work and literally post like 15 TikToks promoting my stream, and my numbers would be really high because sometimes they would go viral, and I was like, oh, I wish I was still doing that, but that's just like not the work life I have right now. I guess right now it's summer, I probably could be doing that, but yeah, that's just what I was talking about. I was mad at me. Not freezing, fine over here. Freezing every once in a while. My connection was bad. Okay, I'm gonna... Interesting. Let me see if I'm connected to Ethernet or not. I am connected to Ethernet, so I'm sorry. Let me do a poll. I say as I continue to not be able to type. Quality. Yes. Oh, I bet I know why. I have a bunch of other windows open right now. I'll do this poll while I close my other windows. That will probably help. There we go. It fixed itself after a while. Cool. Interesting. Most people are saying the Sarah Palin about the free streaming. It's because she's from Alaska. That's the problem. So anyway, I'm just going to soldier on and we're going to fight through it and hopefully it gets better. So after graduating from high school in 1982, that pageant was 84, I think, so a little bit after. She enrolled in the University of Hawaii. I don't know why this shocked me so much, but like that is so random that she went to the University of Hawaii. That just felt like that. I just don't see Sarah Palin in Hawaii. I don't know. It's just not adding up. And apparently it didn't add up for her either because she transferred. So shortly after she arrived in Hawaii, going to the University of Hawaii, she transferred to Hawaii Pacific University in Honolulu for a semester at the fall of 1982. And then she returned to the mainland, enrolling in North Idaho College in the College of Coeur d'Alene, whatever the fuck that is, for the spring and fall semesters of 1983. And then she transferred and enrolled in the University of Idaho for an academic year. And then in 1984, she attended a different university, Matanuska-Susitana. I don't know how to say that. I'm sorry. In Alaska, and then she returned to the University of Idaho where she got her bachelor's in communications. What the fuck? Like, why did she transfer colleges every 5 fucking minutes? Like, what's going on with that? Hawaii and Alaska are buds. I guess that makes sense because they're like both very far from mainland USA. Coeur d'Alene. That's worse than my schooling. That's funny. Sorry I keep eating ice, but I'm not going to stop. Sorry. So, like I said, she has a bachelor's degree in communications with an emphasis on journalism. Cool. Sarah transferring colleges every 15 minutes.
I'm dead. I'm watching TV. I'm looking at you. Fuck you. I'm dead again. I'm up. I can run faster than the bitch around her.
I just felt like that meme really applied. There's lots of memes in here tonight. So this is her in her dorm room at the University of Idaho. There's a slightly more high quality picture. I may be broke, but I'm not flat busted. Okay. Her Alaskan education might not have prepared her, honestly. Oh, good point, good point. I didn't know it was possible to bop around that much. Me either. I guess that's why it took her a while, but she probably just accumulated a lot of credits. Because she had a reputation at every school among guys. I didn't see that anywhere, but I did not see it either. You know what I'm saying? Journalism, hilarious because she couldn't name anything she read with Katie Couric that one time. Oh, don't worry, that will be very much included. So after graduation, she worked for some local TV stations doing sports casting. The hair is really, really giving 80s. Like, the hair is herring. This video has terrible, terrible quality audio-wise, but I just kind of wanted you to see what she looked like. So sorry, it sounds like so crackly. It's literally from 1988.
And now, sir,
we're not going to watch the whole thing.
Keith is here with sports, other news besides Iditarod, right?
Right, there was some good college basketball today. I'm going to show you highlights, plus tell you all about that next. Stay right there. The Iditarod, of course, is the biggie, but it's not the only mushing going on. A few more of the Yukon Quest mushers finished up in Whitehorse today. Kate Persons, John Schandelmeyer, and Dennis Coggo grabbed the 6th, 7th, and 8th spots. Dave Munson, of course, won that race a couple of days ago. And over in Dillingham, after day 2 of the Western Alaska Championships, Victor Sifsoff leads the field of 21. Tom Hossett is just a minute 7 behind him. And in 3rd place, James Sifsoff. This race is part of Dillingham's Beaver Roundup. The college basketball scene got frantic this weekend. Teams still in contention are chasing those.
You get the fucking point. She is doing sportscasting. So her political career started in Wasilla. Wasilla is about 45 minutes from Anchorage. It seems like Anchorage is a decent sized city. Wasilla is small. It has a population of 9,700. That is small for like us in mainland USA. That's not small for Alaska. Like, that's a decent sized town for Alaska. Like, that's probably one of the bigger towns in Alaska. God, I want to go to Alaska so bad, but I could never, ever live there. So that is where her political career started. There is a lot of detail about her early political career. Okay, I'm glad to see it's better for a lot of you. There is a lot of detail about her early political career if you want to go through that, but it's honestly not that interesting. So I'm going to keep it really 100 with you right now. I took the giant thing on Wikipedia, I put it into ChatGPT, and I said, make this a simple timeline, and this is what it made. So it's just like local government positions. Oh, same it's bad was the highest. Perfect. 1992 to 1996, Wasilla City Council. So she was only doing the sportscasting stuff for a couple, I think like 3-4 years. And then she was elected to Wasilla City Council. Oh, that's literally the same thing. Nice job, ChatGPT. This is why you shouldn't be worried about the robots taking over. 1996 to 2002, she was the mayor of Wasilla. She targeted wasteful spending, high taxes. Campaign included abortion, gun rights, and term limits. State Republican Party supported her campaign. She got reelected to mayor. She completed her second term, implemented a 2% sales tax, cut property tax by 75%, eliminated personal property and business inventory taxes, improved roads, sewers, and police funding. So pretty like run-of-the-mill Republican local government stuff. She postponed a library and city hall discussion. Very run-of-the-mill Republican. Tax cuts, money to police, no other forms of local government or services. Perfect. That's exactly what people are looking for. I guess the people voted for, so let me not talk shit. We do live in a democracy, I guess. 1996, she asked for resignation letters from department heads, fired a police chief, inquired about a library book removal, but no books ended up being removed. I should have looked more into that. Wonder what she wanted removed. If anyone wants to Google it, let me know. We don't have time, so I can't get into that right now. Republican starter packs indeed. So second term, promoted and built Wasilla multi-use sports complex. It's Icetown! Is this her Icetown? Not her having an Icetown! If you watch Parks and Rec, you know what I'm talking about. City debt grew due to projects. City debt went from 1 million to 25 million. She hired a lobbying firm and secured nearly 8 million in federal funding, but still, this is her Icetown. She bankrupted Wasilla. They probably still haven't paid it off. Reduced museum funding. Did I miss that? That's terrible. Oh, I did miss that. Reduced museum budget. She's terrible. Ice Clown. It is, actually. I love that she has an Icetown. So 2002, she ran for lieutenant governor, finished second. She was appointed to the Alaska Oil and Gas Conservation Committee. Like, she's just working her way up in Alaska politics. My nose is so itchy right now. I don't know what I'm allergic to. Probably the plants. Where was I? She filed complaints leading to resignation and fines for some fucking guy, complained to the attorney general about a guy, he resigned. She decided not to run for U.S. Senate. And then she was the governor of Alaska. So that's just kind of like her early career. These are her job approval ratings of when she was governor of Alaska. You can see really high approval when she first started in 2007, 93%. And then it just steadily went down from there. Ultimately, the lowest, like right after John McCain and her lost the presidential campaign, which really checks out. So we'll get into more details of her time as governor, but I want to discuss her personal life in the 90s because this is when she got married and had most of her children. So in August 1988, she eloped with Todd Palin, her husband. There's a picture of them. They were high school sweethearts. I don't know how their relationship survived her transferring colleges every 15 minutes. I don't know if he was transferring with her. I really just have no idea what is happening with that. They have 5 children together. Why are these not in birth order? Charles James is born 1989, and then Bristol Sharon Marie, born 1990, Willow Bianca Faye, born 1994, and Piper Indy Grace, born 2001, and then Trig Paxton Van, born 2008, which we will discuss in excruciating detail. So that is just kind of their family life. This is a picture of them when she was like in state government in Alaska, and this is a picture of them at their house in Alaska in 2006. So I guess like that's when she was she was elected for governor that year. So they're just like your upper middle class, rich Alaska power couple, I fucking guess. So
I don't have to sweeten my delivery to make it work for Todd. I mean, who is Todd?
I meant to clip that so it just said who is Todd, but I guess you know what it's from. So anyway, I told you there was a lot of memes. Who names their child Shrek? I have a lot of questions about the naming of her children. So who is Todd? Who is this man that she married? He was born and raised in Alaska, a true Alaska native. He has some, I believe, native ancestry. He grew up in a now abandoned community of Tuklong in a mixed-race region of Bristol Bay and was a member of the Alaska Native Cooperation, but was not enrolled as a citizen of any tribe. He was not actively involved in Native politics at all. I think a lot of like Native people are upset about that. From how much there was on Wikipedia, it definitely seems like people are talking about it. Where was I? Because he is a non-enrolled lineal descendant of an enrolled Alaska Native. His great-grandmother was enrolled as an Alaska Native on, like, U.S. government records. I don't think U.S. government determines, like, your culture and your heritage, but from, like, a U.S. government perspective, in Wikipedia's law references, his great-grandmother was enrolled as an Alaska Native, so he could claim stuff, but I guess he never has. In 1982, he graduated from Wasilla High School with his wife, and their 2 eldest children went to Wasilla High School, Track and Bristol. Their fucking names kill me. He was a union member and belonged to the United Steelworkers Union. Not very Republican of you to be a union member, Todd. And for 18 years, he worked for BP in the North Slope fields of Alaska, which we talked about when we talked about the nighttime places in Alaska the other day. So, in 2007, in order to avoid a conflict of interest with his wife being governor, he took a leave from his job as production supervisor when his employer became involved in gas pipeline negotiations with the governor's office. So, like, he did resign when... It probably was a conflict of interest before that, but that one's just, like, really, really, really glaring. I saw you squinting, Mr. Redacted. Sorry about your contacts fiasco. That's some BS. No, it really, really is. Yeah, Bristol Bay is in Alaska. Like I said, he's an Alaska Native. 7 months later, he said his family needed more income, so he returned to BP, but he was moved to a different position to avoid the conflict of interest. What the fuck ever. And then in 2009, he resigned, saying he wanted to spend more time with his family, again, around the time the election was lost. He is also a commercial salmon fisherman at Bristol Bay. So, cool. I think you have to be recognized from the government to get, as a Native, to get things. Yeah, exactly. Like grants and access to certain programs and things like that. So we're going back to Sarah Palin's career now. Let me put this thing on D&D until tomorrow morning, baby. So this is her ad for governor in 2006. And I want to warn you, I did not watch most of these videos in advance. I just found them, watched it to make sure it was what I wanted, and then threw it in here.
I'm Sarah Palin, candidate for governor. Alaska's changed a lot since the days most fireplaces burned wood. Now many of us rely in some way on natural gas, but supplies are low in Cook Inlet. It's time to bring gas from the slope to heat our homes and fuel our economy.
So your husband that works for BP, at the time that this was filmed, like I told you, didn't watch this in advance, your campaign ad is about bringing natural gas, and your husband works for the company that wants to bring natural gas? Okay.
It's good business to open gas line negotiations to all viable parties. We need to put new energy into these negotiations to secure our future. We need to put Alaskans first.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. No notes at all. This is the first stream I've been to in months. I'm glad it's Miss Sarah Palin. Me too. You know that kid wants to get out of there so bad. She's like, girl, if you do not get me off your fucking lap. So, in the November election, Palin was outspent, but she won. So even though she didn't spend as much money, she did win the Alaska governor role job, whatever the fuck you want to call it. She became Alaska's first female governor, and at the age of 42, she became the youngest governor in Alaska history. She was the state's first governor to have been born after Alaska achieved U.S. statehood, and the first who was not inaugurated at the Capitol. She chose to have the inauguration in Fairbanks for some fucking reason. She took office December 2006, and like we said, her popularity was really high, but then her popularity went down a lot after the presidential election. We're not going to watch this whole thing because I think it's literally an hour, but this is her Governor of Alaska acceptance speech at the inauguration.
It is this is the short clip. To present to you the 11th governor of the state of Alaska.
Another thing said 9th, but this said 11th, so I'm confused.
The Honorable Sarah Palin.
should come to Twitch so you can see the videos.
Surely the warm heart of Alaska is in the Carlson today. I thank you so much for that toasty welcome. This is an honor. Welcome all. To our state constitution framers, we honor you. Past and present officials from across the land, we're grateful for you. I thank
all hail
of
Governor
our
Tina Fey.
former governors here in Alaska who have served, all of them. And to my family, our big family, I love you. Y'all cleaned up real well today. I don't see a Carhartt in the bunch. Give us a couple hours, just give us a couple hours. Especially to all of you, though.
What the fuck?
Students, thank you for skipping school. Thank you for being here.
I wish I liked her policies because I kind of like her. Like, I think she's really unserious in a way that's needed. And I wish that she was, like, on the right side of history. Like, Sarah Palin as a Democrat would be fucking unstoppable. Sarah Palin as a Democrat would be so fucking unstoppable. Not even a Democrat, like a libertarian. I could eat up a Sarah Palin libertarian.
Thank you. I am so glad you all are here. And Libby Riddles, first woman to win the Iditarod.
So, yeah, there is a 45-minute speech if you would like to listen to it. It's online. So let's go into some of her controversies as governor. One is the bridge to nowhere. So this is actually, like, painfully long. So I'm going to try and skim it here. In hindsight, I should have made this shorter. But it was so confusing. I just felt the need to find every possible information on it. So in 2002, way before she was governor, there was a for-profit prison that wanted to build a prison on this island. So they were going to plan a bridge building to connect it to a power grid. So it was originally so they could build a prison, because everything in the U.S. always goes back to prison. The governor at the time did not like it. And then the bridge idea persisted because a new governor provided money to build the bridge later. So this bridge, like, the bridge idea came before Sarah Palin. This bridge has been around, is kind of what I want us to gather. So in 2006, Palin had run for governor with the Build a Bridge plank in her platform, saying she would not allow people to turn the project into something negative. And she criticized the use of the word nowhere, saying that that was insulting to local residences. Because apparently there was a ferry and there were some people that owned property there, but it was just like not a very populated place, so there wasn't a bridge there, and the people that lived there or had property there just like used the ferry when they went. So it's like Alaska infrastructure, I don't really know. But she was like, well, our congressional delegation is in a strong position to assist, and she said that they should build the bridge. So despite the demise of the proposal, she did spend $26 million in transportation funding for the 3-mile access road on Gravana Island that ultimately had little use. And a spokesman for the Alaska Department of Transportation said that it had been within Palin's power to cancel the road project and that she didn't. And then as governor, she canceled the bridge. So she had spent money on the road, but she canceled the bridge. Like, the whole thing is just a little bit confusing. Can someone tell me what Spinmeisters means? I'm from Michigan, and she feels like a Republican version of Gretchen Whitmer. That's it. That is it. Thank you. So she canceled the bridge and said that Congress had little interest in spending any more money, and Alaska did not return the $442 million in federal transportation funding, that some of which I think went to this bridge. And in 2008, as a vice presidential candidate, she characterized her position by saying thanks but no thanks on that bridge to nowhere. And then a bunch of people were like, bitch, when you were campaigning here, you said you were going to build the bridge. And now that you're campaigning later, you're saying you're not going to build the bridge. So I don't know why I put so much detail in there. Basically, she said she was going to build this bridge and then she didn't. This is her endorsing it at a gubernatorial debate in 2006.
There are 3 major bridge and road projects green-lighted by the Murkowski administration: the Scimitar Bridge, the Gravana Island Bridge, and the Juneau Access Project. Now, odds are that after the whole bridge to nowhere label has been pressed by Trump's.
I can't deal with this audio. Just trust me that she said it was a good idea. So this is where they were going to put a bridge to replace a ferry that's there. Or you can, like, drive all the way around. And this is Biden making fun of her for the bridge to nowhere thing of everyone. I guess this was, like, a big deal at the time. Everyone called her out on this, like, really obvious flip-flop. I'm going to speed ahead a little bit because the first part's just not that important. It's also crazy how different Joe Biden looks. I guess this was, like, a really long time ago, but he just looks so crazy. So it's going to pick up, and we're not going to know what he's talking about, but you'll see his joke at the end.
Give you a $5,000 plan, which his website points out will go straight to the insurance company. And then you're going to have to replace a $12,000. That's the average cost of the plan you get through your employer. It costs $12,000. You're going to have to replace a $12,000 plan because 20 million of you are going to be dropped. 20 million of you will be dropped. So you're going to have to replace a $12,000 plan with a $5,000 check you've just given to the insurance company. I call that the ultimate bridge to nowhere.
Thank you, Senator. Now...
So he was talking about, like, health insurance stuff and called it the ultimate bridge to nowhere to, like, jab at her for this fucking bridge to nowhere thing. He is very petty. It's crazy that in a way he looks older here, but he looks, like, real here. Like, I feel like now he just looks like he's had so much work done, and then he just looks like an older guy that just, like, is a little bit older. So this is her main scandal from her governorship, the Public Safety Commissioner dismissal. So she dismissed a public safety officer, Walt Monaghan, July 11, 2008, citing poor performance, performance-related issues, not being a team player on budgeting issues, egregious rogue behavior, and Palin attorney said that the last straw was when he planned to go to Washington, D.C., to get funding for a sexual assault initiative that Sarah Palin, as governor, had not approved. Monaghan said that he resisted persistent pressure from Palin, her husband, her staff, including the state attorney. They all wanted him to fire Sarah Palin's ex-brother-in-law, Alaska State Trooper Mike Wooten. Wooten was involved in a custody battle with Sarah Palin's sister that included a death threat against Sarah Palin's father. So basically, she had this, like, white trash family drama, and then as governor, like, tried to fire this Alaska State Trooper, but Monaghan was like, I'm not firing him over your family drama. I don't even know, like, who's in the right and who's in the wrong in this scenario. It just seems like very shady morals all around. At one point, Sarah and Todd Palin even hired a private investigator seeking to have Wooten officially disciplined. Monaghan stated that he learned an internal investigation, but he only found 2 allegations, and Wooten had been disciplined for any other allegations. The other allegations included an illegal moose killing and the tasering of his 11-year-old stepson, who reportedly asked to be tasered. Literally, what the fuck? When an 11-year-old asks you to taser them, you don't fucking do it. That is crazy. So, Monaghan, Wooten's boss, I guess, told the Palins, like, he only has these things. They've been dealt with already. I cannot just fire him out of nowhere for you. And when contacted by the press for comment, Monaghan first acknowledged the pressure to fire Wooten, but said that he could not be certain that his own firing was connected to that issue. So he even said, like, maybe I got fired because I wouldn't do that. Maybe I didn't. I don't fucking know. Palin stated on... he later asserted that the dispute over Wooten was the major reason for his firing. Palin stated on July 17th that Wooten was not, that Monaghan was not pressured to fire Wooten, and he was not dismissed for not doing so. Monaghan said the subject of Wooten came up when he invited Sarah Palin to a birthday party for his cousin, a state senator, during the legislative session in Juneau. As we were walking down the stairs to the Capitol building, she wanted to talk to me about her former brother-in-law. I said, yes, ma'am, I need to keep you at arm's length with this. I can't deal about him with you. She said, okay, that's a good idea. So it sounds like he told her to fuck off, essentially. I vaguely remember discourse about this scandal, right? The way our health insurance is even worse now. We did it. Palin said there was absolutely no pressure put on him to fire anybody. I did not abuse my office powers, blah, blah, blah. And then on August 13th, she acknowledged that half a dozen members of her administration made more than 24 calls on the matter to various state officials. So she literally had her employees calling up all these other random state officials being like, try and get this guy fired. And again, this guy sounds like a terrible fucking person, but like, what's going on here? This is very white trash core. So, Palin said, I do now have to tell Alaskans that such pressure could have perceived to exist, although I have only now become aware of it. Palin said many of these inquiries were completely appropriate. However, the serial nature of the contacts could be perceived as some kind of pressure, presumably at my direction. Chuck Kopp, who Palin appointed to replace Monaghan, received a $10,000 severance package, and he resigned only 2 weeks after he got the job. So the guy that replaced Monaghan, who got fired for refusing to fire Wooten, that guy only worked there for 2 weeks and they gave him 10 fucking grand. This feels so Trailer Park Boys. It really does. And this is like, it only goes down from here, you guys. Where was I? Kopp, the former Kenai chief of police, resigned July 25th because there was a disclosure of a 2005 sexual harassment complaint and letter of reprimand against him. And Monaghan said that he did not receive severance from the state. So Monaghan was like, y'all fired me and I didn't even fucking do anything and I didn't get severance, and the fucking sexual harasser quits and he gets severance? That's fucking bullshit. So there was a legislative investigation into it, and this is August 2008. So this is like right around election time. I included it with her governor stuff. We're going to talk about the nomination in a little bit. I couldn't decide like what order to do that in. So anyway, the Alaska legislature hired Stephen Branchflower to review Monaghan's dismissal. Legislators stated that Palin had the legal authority to fire him, but wanted to know if her action had been motivated by anger at him for not firing Wooten. The atmosphere was bipartisan, and Palin pledged to cooperate. Wooten remained and employed as a state trooper. She placed an aide on paid leave due to a tape-recorded phone conversation that she deemed improper, in which an aide, appearing to act on her behalf, complained to a trooper that Wooten had not been fired. So she even like low-key fired one of her people for doing it. Several weeks after the start of what the media referred to as Troopergate, Palin was chosen as John McCain's running mate. So she was chosen. I'm assuming he knew about this. If it was in the media, he had to have known about it, and they picked her anyway. On September 1st, Palin asked the legislator to drop the investigation, saying that the state personnel board actually had jurisdiction over this, and the state's personnel board had members that were appointed by her predecessor, and then she had reappointed one of those members. So I guess she felt like they were going to be nicer to her. And then September 19th, Todd Palin and several state employees refused to honor subpoenas, and the validity of which were disputed by Talis Kohlberg. I hope that the quality is not bad. I'm going to be really sad if it is when I look back at this. Talis Kohlberg, where was I? So the validity were disputed by her appointed attorney general. So, like, her people are the ones defending her. Maybe I'm going to stop the TikTok live. Maybe it's like too much on my Wi-Fi. TikTok, you have to come to Twitch. I'm so sorry, but I'm leaving you. Goodbye. See if maybe that's better. And then let me try taking my phone off of the Wi-Fi. Maybe that will help. I'm going to do another poll. I hate when we have technology issues. Quality, good, bad. And a lot of you are saying it's fine. So I'm wondering, like, if it's fine for some of you, then I don't think it's on my end. Maybe it's on Twitch's end. I don't fucking know. So annoying. But anyway, I'm just going to keep soldiering on. So, on October 2nd, a court rejected the challenge to the subpoenas, and 7 of the witnesses, but not Todd Palin, eventually testified. Bye TikTok. The Wi-Fi gets overload. So that is the whole shindig of the fucking court dismissal thing. Mine is really glitchy tonight. It's saying it's bad for most of you all. What the fuck? I don't know what to do. Because it says I'm connected to Ethernet. I have inside knowledge of a line strike causing widespread internet outages. Let me Google this. Is Twitch down? This says it's up. Oh no, Twitch is having problems right now. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's not me, it's Twitch. See, Twitch is having problems right now. That sucks. Let me do a poll because it's bad for like the vast majority of you. Let me see what we want to do. What do we do? Keep going. Do this tomorrow? You're fine on my end. TikTok misses you. Okay, then I'm going to go back on TikTok because it's not me, it's Twitch. Okay, almost everyone's saying keep going. I'm going to keep going. Hopefully it gets better. Twitch, get your shit together. Completely normal for me. What did you Google to bring that graph up? It's called Down Detector. I just search like is blank down and it usually comes up first. Okay. Oops, sorry, TikTok. No, I'm putting them back. So we have concluded we're going to keep going. It's Twitch, not me. Maybe try closing out the app and restarting it. But this is a news report about the public safety dismissal situation.
Alaska Governor Sarah Palin violated the public's trust but didn't break the law. That's the conclusion reached by a bipartisan panel of Alaska lawmakers. The state's public safety commissioner, Walter Monaghan, had accused Palin of firing him because he wouldn't fire this man, State Trooper Michael Wooten, the ex-husband of Palin's sister. Sarah Palin and her husband Todd had been in a bitter family dispute with Wooten. The report states that Governor Palin and Todd Palin and her family have, over an extended period of time, endeavored to get Trooper Michael Wooten fired from his job as an Alaska State Trooper. It also states that Walter Monaghan's refusal to fire Wooten likely contributed to his termination. However, Governor Palin's firing of Commissioner Monaghan was a proper and lawful exercise of her constitutional and statutory authority to hire and fire executive branch department heads.
Not illegal, just weird.
Absolutely nothing to hide. So.
Candidate Palin denies any wrongdoing, and the McCain presidential campaign says the report shows she acted within proper and lawful authority.
Just
but
like
the inquiry has been an
would.
unwanted distraction in a tight race. Manuel Gallegos, CBS.
So, I'm going to skip over this because that's kind of what the news report just said. So another I don't even want to call it scandal, but just a thing. Apparently she sold a jet on eBay. Everyone thought that she sold a government-owned jet on eBay, but it's actually a little more complicated than that. She bolstered her reputation as a reformer, basically saying, this jet bought by her predecessor, Frank Murkowski. She was like, this is an excessive purchase. We're going to sell it and give that money back to the government to like help the taxpayers, yada, 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 whatever. The luxury jet was over the top. She was a self-described hockey mom, and grinning, she said, I put it on eBay. And that is true. It was listed on eBay, but they didn't actually sell it on eBay. They sold it through like a business person who paid $2.1 million for the aircraft and now wants $50,000 from the government to cover maintenance. So basically she was like bragging that she sold this jet on eBay, but she never even sold it on eBay. The whole thing was like kind of fucking stupid. I didn't know she was gangster like that. It's fine, TikTok are the stepchildren. Y'all are terrible. So Governor while pregnant girl boss moment. She had her youngest son Trig April 2008. So this is while she was governor, before she was nominated for VP, and before all of like the public safety like scandal type stuff that we talked about. She randomly had this baby like kind of late in life. We will talk much more about this later. Her son Trig does have Down syndrome, so we're not going to discuss his diagnosis a ton, just in the context of things that she has said about it. I really don't like to speak on people's children. We will be speaking on Bristol Palin because she's an adult. But yeah, I don't like speaking about people's children. So just know when we talk about him, it's like what she has said about him. So she discovered she was pregnant with her 5th child while she was attending a conference in New Orleans in 2007. She was 43 when she got pregnant, because like that's possible but not super common. And she said, for a fleeting thought, I knew what women go through when they say they're facing what they believe at the time are less than ideal circumstances, she said. I never thought, do I want another child? And for that split second, I was like, gee, now of all times, yeah, I'm no spring chicken. After she returned to Alaska, she had a genetic test done that revealed she was carrying a baby with Down syndrome. She said the moment gave her pause. I thought, God, unless you know more than I do about all of this, how in the world would I handle this? 92% of women that do get that news choose to terminate their pregnancy, according to a pediatric geneticist at Children's Hospital Boston. But Palin has always been aggressively pro-life. She said, I knew that option was there. I thought again for a split second, okay, now I know too. When that fear strikes you because of the unknown, you'd think that going through this would like make her change her mind. Like you think being like, oh, I had an accidental pregnancy, and even though I didn't get an abortion, it gave me a lot of empathy, and I feel differently now. Like, it's crazy that it drove her further to be pro-life. She said, I understand too why a woman would consider an abortion an easier path. Perhaps, if you will, do away with the problem instead of understanding that every child has a purpose. There is a destiny for every child, and it can be good in our world, and that's what I held on to. When asked by Barbara Walters if her right to life stance dictated her choice, she said her decision was not a political decision. She said it was holding on to that seed of that promise that things will be okay if we choose life, and that certainly has come to fruition in my life. So this is some of that interview. And can I just say for the YouTubers, this stream is going to get like eaten alive by copyright. I'm sorry.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Vargas, and this is 2020 in Touch. A little more than a year ago, few people outside Alaska had heard of Sarah Palin. Now she's a household name, and still many believe the future hope of the Republican Party. Barbara Walters has a revealing interview with Sarah Palin.
Sarah Palin and her husband Todd had 5 children. The youngest is 19-month-old Trig, who was born with Down syndrome.
I love you.
90% of pregnant women who learn they are carrying a Down syndrome baby have an abortion.
Attention chat, please don't get ableist with the abortion talk. Good call out, very good call out. The way that I view it is like 90% of people make that choice. I have no opinion about that. I've never been in that situation. I am not disabled, so everyone can have their own feeling about that. But if you're talking about it, just be respectful.
That you were going to have a Down syndrome child. You said, I'm not sure that I can handle this. Did you think then, even for a second, about aborting that baby?
I knew that the option was there, and that, Barbara, when I got those results back from the amniocentesis that showed, yes, he had an extra chromosome, I thought, again, for that split second, okay, now I know, too, why, when that fear strikes you because of the unknown, why a woman would consider it an easier path to perhaps, if you will, do away with the problem, instead of understanding that every child has purpose. There is destiny for every child, and it can be good in our world, and that's what I held on to.
So yeah, that's basically what I already read, but that is her stance about it. So then in 2008, she is the Republican, and we will talk more about her pregnancy and some of the rumors about it later. She is the Republican Party vice presidential candidate. So she was the choice for VP. At a speech in Virginia, McCain told his supporters that regional consideration would be less bearing, and it would be ability to take office and the candidate's values, principles, philosophy, and priorities. Blah, 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 blah. It was electoral calculations, whatever. He initially wanted to choose Lieberman, his close friend and the 2000 Democratic VP nominee, and as his running mate, but Lieberman's liberal record led McCain's aides to vetoing the choice because Lieberman had been pro-choice. McCain, especially later in his life, was more into like crossing the aisle and like being bipartisan about things. But his aides were like, no, you're going with Sarah Palin because she's pro-life. This is a great example about how Christian fundamentalism is taking over our government, just saying. So, by picking Palin, Schmidt argued McCain could snatch a change mantle away from Obama. McCain rejecting safer choices like Romney to choose a woman as his running mate was very historic. So here is him announcing that. Yeah, Lieberman was a Democrat at this time.
Who beat the long odds to win a tough election on a message of reform and public integrity. And I am especially proud to say...
He's talking about the nomination election,
the
primary.
We celebrate the anniversary of women's suffrage, a devoted... devoted wife and a mother of 5.
She's kind of Phyllis Schlafly core, you guys. Do you see it? I see it.
She's not from these parts, and she's not from Washington. But when you get to know her, you're gonna be as impressed as I am. She's got the grit,
all right,
integrity, good sense,
sure,
and fierce devotion to the common good that is exactly what we need in Washington today.
Impressed? Boy, do I have news for you.
She knows where she comes from.
Is she gonna?
She knows who she works for. She stands up for what's right, and she doesn't let anyone tell her to sit down.
I'm skipping some of this.
Governor Sarah Palin of the great state of Alaska.
Is she kind of cunty? Yeah, and Alaskans are shocked. Alaskans are shocked.
I feel a little bit iffy about it, you know. She's done so much good here, I think, you know, I'd miss her, you know.
They're gonna miss her, you guys.
She's such a wonderful person, but, you know, America will, you know, she'll do good by America.
Well, she's a regular person, like a lot of people in this country, working a job, not wealthy, not a attorney, not a career politician.
She literally is a career politician. She had, at this point, she had a political career that started in 1992. She had been in politics for 15 years.
To do the right thing, you know, and it started out that in government, it was just the regular people running. And it's gotten to be so
not
tied
wealthy.
Up with
it's kind of
lobbyists
shady.
And attorneys and career politicians, and she's what we need.
Attorneys, also known as people who know laws. I'm personally not against people that know laws being in charge of making laws. Just me.
Shocked to begin with, you know, and then I started thinking it might be all right. Because it's the only way I think McCain, by diversifying himself and going with a woman, is going to be able to compete with Obama being black.
My son calls me.
That guy really just said it. He was like, well, Obama's black, so McCain had to do something. I kind of love Alaska for that. I kind of really do love Alaska for that. So there's a lot of videos tonight. Like I said, YouTube is going to get eaten up. Lots of videos. Sarah Palin hits the campaign trail. So he named her in September, which I felt like is really last minute, but is it always that way, I guess?
She's just 1 week out from her debut at the Republican National Convention, and Sarah Palin, the party's vice presidential nominee, is still adjusting.
So late. Okay, that's what I
She
thought.
has many tests.
Don't they usually announce it like the summer before?
Between now and Election Day, and the McCain campaign is taking a deliberate approach towards confronting them. First up, she's returned to Alaska to undergo her first major political interview with Charles Gibson of ABC News, And while she has yet to hold a press conference or take questions from voters directly, her impact on the campaign trail has been felt in a positive way.
Keep them guessing.
She got Sarah's autograph. I got,
Best piece, Sarah Palin.
I feel like sending her down there, even with John McCain, that maybe things will look different.
Maybe. I guess we'll never know.
How the ABC interview is received and how voters respond when, or rather if, the buzz around her begins to wear off are yet to be seen. In terms
When was
of
the
message
We Did
now,
It Joe
though,
video?
she's largely had an
Long
effective
time after
approach.
this.
Appearing at Mr. McCain's side, she's been able to lavishly praise him.
For the job of leading our country, he's the only man in this race who's got what it takes.
I feel like he hired her to be like, women love me. Like, not in a sexual way, but in just like a political way.
She's also attacking Mr. Obama and making news doing it.
In just 3 years, our opponent has requested nearly $1 billion in earmarks. That's nearly $1 million for every working day.
But many questions have been raised about Mrs. Palin's own record on governmental
Political wig woman, exactly.
I told Congress, thanks, but no thanks for that bridge to nowhere up in Alaska. If our state
And
wanted
then
the
everyone
bridge,
made
we were
fun
going
of
to
her.
build it ourselves.
In fact, Ms.
As governor, I've rejected funding for my people. What's wrong with you?
Palin supported the idea of federal funding for a bridge from Ketchikan to an Alaskan island of few inhabitants.
Not the Confederate
before she
flag. Wait,
opposed
where?
it. The back and forth on this and other issues
No,
is
I think
all
that's
part
a
of
state.
a larger battle,
Is that a state
which
flag?
has been
I
ongoing
can't
since she
tell.
was announced as a candidate 2 weeks ago.
Oh, she announced August 29th.
It's a fight over the public definition of Sarah Palin. Both campaigns see it as potentially critical, and there's a constellation of advisors around her waging the fight.
And John McCain was 70, so I know now both candidates are well into their motherfucking 80s, I think. But back then, people were like, 70's really old, so it was really important about who his VP was, because it's like, if he dies, she would be the president. I think people cared a lot more about McCain's VP than Obama's VP.
For her
because
side.
of the age.
The most prominent is Tucker Askew. He helped run President Bush's 2004 war room and now travels with Mrs. Palin as she prepares herself for ever closer scrutiny. With the election less than 55 days away, the public definition of Miss Palin is a battle that could go down to the wire.
So, boom. And then literally right after he announces her, she got announced August 29th. September 1st, Sarah Palin reveals her 17-year-old daughter is pregnant. And I just want to say, normally I would never speak negatively of a teen mother. I think teen mothers are in an impossible position. I am a teacher. I have been around many, many, many teen mothers. But Bristol Palin went on to go be a pro-life abstinence advocate. So if you're going to go around and tell other women what to do with their motherfucking bodies, when you were an adult woman who had experienced a teen pregnancy and you still felt like you could turn around and go tell people what to do with their fucking body and their fucking choices, I get to say whatever I want about your choices. Because if you're going to go around telling people what they should choose, then I should be able to speak whatever I feel about what you chose. So that's how I have rationalized that to myself. So Sarah Palin reveals her unmarried 17-year-old daughter, I don't know if a married 17-year-old is better, is 5 months pregnant. So not like she just got pregnant. Like John McCain definitely knew. There was definitely multiple meetings about this. She says Bristol will keep the baby and marry the father. A statement released by John McCain's campaign team said that Bristol, like we said, would keep the baby, which was due in December. Our beautiful daughter Bristol came to us with news. This is Sarah Palin, not John McCain. I vividly remember people slut-shaming a teenager. It was awful. Yeah, we're not going to slut-shame. I will make fun of you for being pro-life, but I'm not going to slut-shame you. I'm an asshole, but I'm not a scumbag. Like, I do have boundaries. I stole that from a podcast, Small Town Murder. It's great. But anyway, so Our beautiful daughter Bristol came to us with the news that as parents we knew would make her grow up faster than we had ever planned. We're proud of Bristol's decision to have her baby and even prouder to become grandparents, Sarah and Todd Palin said in a brief statement. Bristol and the young man she will marry are going to realize quickly the difficulties of raising a child, which is why they will have the love and support of our entire family. The 44-year-old Alaska governor has 4 other children, the youngest of whom is 6 months old. It is pretty white trash for you and your mom to have babies that are the same age. That is just like really white trash core. And that's what I'm saying. Like, Sarah Palin does represent our country perfectly. She is exactly who we are. Her family is absolutely an American family. What was that? Palin's selection as running mate was believed to partly down her fierce... Payne's selection as McCain's running mate was believed partly down to her fierce opposition to abortion to placate his Republican base, because a lot of people felt like McCain was too liberal on the abortion issue. McCain, I don't even remember his stances, but it was just like never a crusade he was on. Like, he was never on like the aggressively pro-life campaign, and I think he had voted different ways on different things throughout his career. And McCain's advisors said the Arizona senator knew about Bristol's pregnancy before Palin was asked to become the running mate. So this is the Associated Press talking about it.
Republican vice presidential hopeful Sarah Palin and her husband Todd say their 17-year-old unmarried daughter is 5 months pregnant. In a brief statement, the couple said Monday, "Our beautiful daughter Bristol came to us with news that as parents, we knew would make her grow up faster than we had ever planned."
What I just read.
They said their daughter is due in late December and plans to keep her baby. They also said she plans to marry the child's father. The announcement came after internet rumors swirled that Sarah Palin's son, who was born in April with Down syndrome, was actually her grandchild.
So we're going to get into these internet rumors that they're about to talk about. So what he just said, if you missed it, is there were internet rumors that Sarah Palin's son Trig, the one that was a baby here, is actually Bristol's child. And Sarah Palin like covered for her and was like, yeah, that's my baby, my late in life baby. So there's a lot of conspiracy here.
Bloggers suggested that Trig Palin was really Bristol's son and that her mother claimed the child was hers. A John McCain advisor says the campaign hoped Monday's announcement would refute those rumors. McCain officials also said the Arizona senator and his top...
I don't understand how that rebutes those rumors. Like that she didn't cover for you a second time? Is that what it's supposed to be refuting?
Aides knew about Bristol Palin's pregnancy before offering her mother the number 2 spot on the GOP ticket. McCain's campaign and the Palins are asking the media to respect the family's privacy.
So let's get into the rumors and let's be terrible, gossipy, disrespectful ass people for a little bit. So many people believed that Sarah faked a pregnancy to cover for her daughter, but then her daughter got pregnant again and Sarah was like, nah girl, that one is on you. That's what a lot of people in my family believe. So this is an article from 2011 where they're like reflecting back on this. 3 years ago, which would be 2008, a sitting state governor and candidate for VP told a story about how she had given birth to her 5th child, Trig. And normally I would, like I said, I would not be one to be like prying into your birth story and trying to find speculations and like accusations. But you have done a lot of work to make it harder for women in America to get medical care, so I think we all get to talk about your medical care because you talked about ours. So anyway, some details of this story struck many observers as strange, and as more information came to light, people began to suspect that Palin fabricated her pregnancy and lied about it. Palin assured everyone that this was nonsense and a conspiracy theory, blah, 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 whatever. So let's look at some of the discrepancies people have found. So, in her 2009 autobiography, which we will discuss, Sarah Palin recounted the official story of the birth of her 5th child. So this is why it's being talked about later, because it came out in her book. Early in the morning of April 17th, 2008, she was in a hotel in Dallas and was awakened by amniotic fluid leaking. Her child was not due for another month, but Palin did not seek medical attention. if you're having a baby at 43, that's considered a high-risk pregnancy because it's considered, I hate that they call it this, a geriatric pregnancy if you're over 35. I know a lot about this because the daycare I used to work at did prenatal classes. So anyway, like if you are a month before your due date and you're leaking, like get medical attention, especially if you're a high-risk pregnancy, which she was. Rather than seeking medical attention, she stuck to her schedule and gave a lunchtime speech in Dallas. Palin recalled that she had labor contractions as she gave this lunchtime keynote address, and upon finishing the speech, her and her husband took a flight back to Alaska with a layover in Seattle while she was in active labor before they ever saw a doctor. More than 10 hours later, they reached a small hospital near their home in Wasilla, nearly an hour north of Anchorage, where she gave birth the next morning. You at 43 with your 5th baby got on a plane for 10 hours with a layover in Seattle. Got it. That's okay, interesting. Palin wrote that Governor Rick Perry of Texas jokingly asked if she was going to have her baby then and there, and she said to herself, if you only knew. If we only knew that we could believe this incredible birth story. The details raise questions. Why did she wait more than 20 hours to seek medical attention? Why would she get on an airplane? It's surprising to me that a doctor let her on an airplane with a high-risk pregnancy at 8 months. Most doctors don't want you to travel that late, especially if you're high risk. And like, I've never been pregnant, but I think I do know more than like the average person who's never been pregnant. And like I said, I don't like to speculate, but it's just fucking weird, man. Steve Schmidt, the manager for the election, described Sarah Palin's book as fiction and called it magical realism, is what another guy said. So Todd Palin was the only one accompanying her on this trip in 2008, which was an irregular arrangement for a trip involving state business. Normally, like, her aides would come, but her husband came. After Palin's speech in Dallas, he emailed 3 of her aides saying the speech kicked ass, but remarkably said nothing about Sarah Palin being in labor or that they were rushing back home to Alaska so she could give birth close to home. The next day, Sarah Palin's office sent out a press release announcing the birth of Palin's 5th child, Trig, saying the Palins were thankful that the governor's labor began yesterday while she was in Texas, but let up enough for her to travel on Alaska Airlines, not the plug, back to Alaska in time to deliver her 2nd son. That is insane. I'm sorry, I don't believe that. I literally just don't. I recently had a somewhat high-risk pregnancy, not as high risk as this. Like, the child has Down syndrome, you're 43, and you're traveling. It's not adding up. And my doctor didn't let me go more than an hour away from the hospital within my last month of pregnancy. Exactly. Close to home. She passed so many great hospitals. Exactly. Like, you were in Dallas, Texas, and then you were in Seattle. Those are both major American cities. I was only 26. I wasn't allowed to fly from Maryland to California at 30 weeks, and I was 26 and not high risk. That's what I mean. There's no way a doctor cleared her to fly. Maybe she was doing it without a doctor's clearance, but I get wanting to be home with your newborn, but no way you could travel that late. Yeah, like, I am the first one to be like, I'm going home. I don't care what time it is. I'm going home. But, like, when you're in active labor, girl, the press release did not mention where the birth took place, but a TV crew showed up at a medical center in Palmer, Alaska after getting a tip that that's where she gave birth, and they videotaped her parents going to the hospital room, and Chuck holding an infant, he said, was their month premature new grandson. Experts have since said that the baby did not look like a newborn. So there were a lot of like pictures, but I was looking online for them and a ton of them were like Photoshopped, so I just like couldn't find any that I felt confident in. But if you want to jump down that rabbit hole of people like comparing baby photos and pictures, I partially did not include the pictures because a lot of it was like, she doesn't look pregnant, or look at Bristol, she looks pregnant. And at the end of the day, at least one of them had a pregnancy or two. And I'm not going to talk about women's bodies. I wouldn't want them to talk about my bodies. I'll talk about them lying, but I'm not going to talk about their bodies. So that's why I didn't get into the pictures. So anyway, but this medical facility lacks a neonatal intensive care unit, which would make it a very poor choice for a baby with complications. And like we said, she knew that her son had Down syndrome. So very interesting that she chose a hospital that was like not really equipped to handle it. And like we said, they passed many large hospitals. And notably in 2005, Palin was on the hospital association that runs the hospital that she gave birth at. So that's why a lot of people think that she didn't actually give birth and it was her daughter's baby, and she like got the hospital staff to like pretend she gave birth, I guess. So she took no maternity leave and returned to work the following Monday, bringing the premature baby with her, which again, any medical professional would advise against. And she held a press conference and a reporter asked her if her water broke in Texas, and she said, so that was, again, if I must get personal, technical about this at the same time. It was a sign that I knew could lead to labor of kind of being kicked in there was any kind of amniotic fluid leaking. So when that happened, we decided to call the family doctor, and her water did indeed break in Texas, according to someone else. Yeah, so that's why, like, I debated talking about this, but, like, it is just very suspicious and weird. Like, you're taking a premature baby to a press conference after you just gave birth, like, a couple days ago? It doesn't make sense. I hate when people don't take maternity leave. One thing I fucking hate is women in the workforce being like, I worked until I was in labor. I worked and my water broke at work. I came back after only 4 weeks. So you hate yourself. Why is you hating yourself a badge of honor? That's not something to brag about. So, where was I? On the same day that McCain named Palin as his running mate, someone wrote on a website, Sarah, I'm calling you a liar, not even a good one. Trig Paxton Van Palin is not your son, he's your grandson. The author quoted a daily news article from Anchorage before that was kind of saying she was expecting her 5th child. Palin said she was 7 months along with the baby to arrive in mid-May. That the pregnancy is so advanced astonished all who heard. The governor simply did not look pregnant. Again, I don't really speculate about their bodies. There's tons of photoshopped images and like where the fabric looks funny. Like, I'm not getting into that. Even close members of the staff said that they just learned that she was expecting. And to say you're 7 months along and no one knows, that's like a little crazy. And I said I wasn't going to talk about her body, but she is like pretty petite, and usually like short people show a lot faster from what I've seen. A couple days later, the Daily News wrote, okay, the Palin baby speculation is inescapable at this point. Palin's daughter Bristol was pregnant, and the governor somehow covered it up with pretending to have the baby herself. Yeah, these are just some articles talking about it. I think I'm going to skip through this. So the McCain campaign responded to the fake birth by revealing on September 1st that Bristol was pregnant. So again, I don't know if Bristol's pregnant the second time or if they were like, I have no fucking idea. And was engaged to Levi Johnston, the father-to-be. Adding Bristol was in her 5th month. One odd detail presumably designed to illustrate that Bristol could not be Trig's mother. So when they announced Bristol was pregnant, they were like, she's 5 months along. She was pregnant when Trig was born. So maybe they both were pregnant. The whole thing is just really, really odd. Bristol gave birth to her own son on December 27th. However, that birth date was not confirmed by any source outside of the Palin family, and the hospital would not comment on her son's birthday. And the announcement of the birth was oddly made by a relative outside of Alaska who had not seen the child. About 7 weeks passed before the media ever saw her son trip. So her announcement about her son's timing was weird. Could Bristol be Trig's mother? What are the original theories here? Blah, blah, blah. We still don't know. We probably never will know. But we're going to get into some side notes about the Bristol storyline because it really just is crazy. And like I said, we can all speculate about labor and all these things, but we really will just never fucking know. The lore really is crazy. So we're going to kind of get off our timeline. This all happened in like early 2008. We're going to move into some Bristol lore, and then we'll get back to Sarah Palin. I just needed to talk more about Bristol Palin. So Bristol and Levi Johnston broke up. They were a teen couple. That's not surprising. And comedian Kathy Griffin invited Bristol Palin's ex-fiance to be her date to the Teen Choice Awards, which is so fucking unserious. This is less than a year later, so it's not like this is years down the line. This is literally like, I think like 6 months after they broke up, Kathy Griffin took him to the Teen Choice Awards.
So you took Levi Johnston to the Teen Choice Awards?
I'm in love with him.
You are?
Yes, I am in a relationship.
What made you do it?
You know what? Love just happened, Sherry.
The heart wants.
Yeah, are you implying that it was a...
For context, people that don't know Kathy Griffin, she is a very famous comedian, and she is like very left. Like, she is like a very intense Democrat. She's campaigned for Democrats, and she had a TV show at this time, and I think she just did this, A, for publicity, and B, to just troll Sarah Palin. I think she fucking hated Sarah Palin and just wanted to see like what havoc she could wreak on the Sarah Palin's family, and this is what she went with.
It's a photo op of some sort? How?
She's the one that everyone hated because she held up a fake Trump head. If you remember that. That's her.
Dare you?
You're kind of beyond
You
the
didn't
cougar
do it
with
for
him,
attention?
though.
Yes. Yes.
Come on.
We both did it for the attention. And I'm in love, don't judge me. I'm in love with Sarah Palin's daughter's baby daddy. And yeah, I took him to the Teen Choice Awards.
And how was that? How is he? Is he really smart? Is he?
He's a genius. He should be on the Supreme Court. He was robbed.
So you took Levi.
I think I like dropped for a second, but I think it's back now. It was loading and then it dropped. So sorry if you missed that little clip. And then a couple weeks later, she announced that she's pregnant with his baby, which was a joke. That was not true. And she said that Levi Johnston should do gay porn.
Levi, apparently your friend, your desire,
My fiance.
is apparently contemplating posing for Playgirl.
Yeah, I think he should. I told him he should pose for Playboy.
Does he have a
should
good
do
body?
Playgirl, and he should do gay porn.
Because gay porn, he's not gay.
But the gays want a piece of him. I think they'd like it. I think that Levi should pose
so
for
funny.
anything that pays him. He's adorable and charming.
I think Levi should pose for anything that pays him. He's adorable and charming.
And you've had him here. You can just talk and talk and talk. You can't shut him up.
He can?
Yeah, he has a lot of thoughts about healthcare reform and global warming. I saw him at the TED conference. He was the keynote speaker.
Yeah, he was like 19.
I think he should pose naked as much as possible. And I want you to know that my relationship with him is legitimate. And in fact, I am pregnant with Levi Johnston's baby. Yes, I'm breaking it on this show,
Oh my
Larry.
gosh.
Mm-hmm.
And he's made another girl pregnant.
Yeah, that's right. Which is weird because I
People forget Kathy has been stirring the pot for funsies.
didn't even have one egg left. And yet, I think Oprah must have prayed for it because it happened. Oh, I feel it kicking.
The Vanity Fair article
Was
with
awesome.
Levi. Were you surprised how critical he was of his soon-to-be but never...
So I think I'm going to get into this later. He was in a Vanity Fair article where he really was just like talking so much shit about the Palins. I think that's what they're talking about right now.
happened mother-in-law.
Well, I wasn't as shocked because I actually just spent some time with him, so he kind of told me what was in
you all
there.
these things.
Yeah.
Some things you say in your book that might cause an uproar, especially in Washington.
Yeah.
You say that politics is show business for ugly people.
Yeah.
Explain.
Okay, so then they kind of get into like more about her and her life. So this is her going fishing with him. This is in 2010. So about a year later than this, she had this bit going on for years. Like once or twice a year, she would call up Levi Johnston and was like, get your ass over here. Was Levi okay with all this? He hung out with her a bunch of times. I don't know if she was paying him, but they had this bit going for a while.
Well, I've now walked through Wasilla like I'm in Sarah Palin's Uggs, but I haven't found her yet. So it's time for me to, well, as Sarah would say, lock and load and
I'm gonna speed
get
this
loaded
up.
up and everybody's in my sights.
So she is visiting him in Alaska, and that's Sarah
Can you believe
Palin's
it?
house.
Here I am walking up to Sarah Palin's front door. Levi stayed behind. He wasn't worried about any kind of a run-in I was going to have with Sarah Palin personally. I think he just, didn't want to get shot. It looks empty.
Sarah's not here.
I'm coming to invite them to my show. Well, maybe I can leave a note.
Sarah's handyman.
I'll get a pen and paper and I'll leave
or
a note.
Wasilla Secret Service.
All right, leaving a note. Dear Palins, who are 18 years old or older, mostly Sarah, I'm doing a funny comedy show Friday night at the Anchorage Performing Arts Center. Come see me. I'll even comp you, or at least a twofer. XOXO Kathy Griffin. All right.
I love her show. It's on
Apparently they've
Peacock.
gone fishing.
What else did he have going on? Exactly. Like, why wouldn't he do
Sarah.
this?
See you at the show.
Like, of course, to wreak havoc on his
I ended up not
ex.
spending any time with Sarah Palin.
Like a man would.
I thought we'd be kicking it at her compound. Maybe have a three-way with Bill O'Reilly, something. None of that happened. So instead, I decided to go ice fishing. Is it okay with you if Tom and Tiff come with us?
I remember being in 8th grade and my mom having to explain she was joking.
Tone because you know you're doing is disgusting. You just spit. What is that?
You want me to swallow?
I don't even know what it is, and I don't want to
It's
know.
Copenhagen. Golly.
Copenhagen.
Copenhagen.
All right. Now, when do we get to the lake part? Because that would scare me.
Definitely there.
Kids don't float
All right, so
is
I'm really
crazy.
nervous for my life. I'm standing on top of a lake, which I believe goes against nature.
That's my butt chat.
She's so
How's it
mean.
going? Great to meet you.
I think there's a part where
My
she's
lover,
like
Levi, has taken me ice fishing,
in a
fish
bikini.
running,
I think
or
it might not be here
ice
though.
machining.
So yeah, her and Levi Johnston go ice fishing together. And then this is where she said that he broke up with her and ripped her heart into pieces. I love her.
Are you brokenhearted over the fact that first that Levi and Bristol got back together?
Wow, you're really going there. If you're going to pull a Diane Sawyer, I'd like the fuzzy lighting, because I didn't know you were going to just cut my heart open on this show.
When he
Basically,
announced he was back with her,
I'm glad that you can't even say her name, because I can't either. I know it's something like a vacuum cleaner brand. Yeah, I've been dumped.
But-
and it hurts.
but he's not with her now.
Don't play games with my heart, as the Backstreet Boys would say, if I can quote them again.
Again?
Stop playing games with my heart.
But it changed.
She literally built my sense of humor. I used to watch My Life on the D-List all the time as a kid, and she built my personality.
Now he's not with her.
You
he
know what?
fathered a child with someone else.
Okay, you don't get me, all right?
I don't.
Levi Johnston ripped my heart into pieces, and you're just
I love
sitting
that
there
Larry
cold
King
as
was
ice.
down for
I was
the
this
bit.
close to living in the White House. And if I had been first lady or whatever I would have been, if I would have kept, sleeping with Levi Johnston, I would have made gay marriage legal.
But
Because let me tell you, gay guys like him because he's hot.
you could have been the first lady
I'm not against her being the president. I can't say that I am.
of the mayor of a city.
I think that could still happen. And let me tell you, we are going to gay up Wasilla if I'm the first lady. It is going to be literally just one endless stream of me officiating gay weddings. By the
In
way, I was
Wasilla.
supposed to go officiate a gay wedding after
I know,
this.
I heard,
so I'm
right?
disappointed.
Yeah.
I know. The gays have to wait once
By
again.
the way, one other thing on Levi. Have you called him?
I'm doing something called The Rules. I think Dr. Laura, or whatever she is,
Veep coded.
now, big internet book writer, would agree that
This is like a
there's a lot of
literary
possibilities
reference
out there.
to this book called The Rules.
me.
That was like a dating book at the time. So to give you context, Sarah Palin, like we said, when she was pregnant, she said that they were engaged. They ended up breaking their engagement off March 2009. And then Bristol began a child custody case seeking sole custody. And then in July 2010, they announced they were reunited and engaged for a second time. And then 3 weeks later, they ended the second engagement. So yes, I would love a Kathy Griffin and a Chelsea Handler stream. So this is an interview Bristol Palin gave in 2011 on GMA where she said her virginity was stolen. She literally says my virginity was stolen. So we're not going to watch the whole thing because it's 7 minutes, but we're going to watch a part of it.
Onto the national stage.
I don't know if something crazy just happened on
Age
there,
of just 17
but I
years old with a
accidentally
big
went full
secret. She
screen. Let me know what happened on your end when I accidentally went full screen.
had to tell the world she was a soon-to-be unwed teen mom. Now Bristol
Fucking up right now.
Bristol Palin thrust onto the national stage at just 17 years old with a big secret. She had to tell the world she was a soon-to-be unwed teen mom. Now Bristol taking control, telling her own story in a GMA exclusive, talking about her brand new book, Not Afraid of Life, My Journey So Far. Had a chance to sit down with her at a one-on-one interview, and everything, I mean everything, was on the table.
We're both very independent. We're both strong. We both have really tough skin.
And like her mother, Sarah Palin, her oldest daughter doesn't pull any punches. In her new book, Not Afraid of My Life, My Journey So Far, Bristol writes candidly about her sexual relationship with Levi Johnston. You open the book and you talk about not that your virginity, that you lost it, but you use the word stolen.
But does not
that in
allege
essence,
date
Levi
rape.
got you drunk and stole, again, your words, your virginity. Can you clarify that at all?
That's what it felt like. I'm not accusing Levi of date rape or rape at all, but I am just looking back with the adult eyes that I have now and just thinking that was a foolish decision. I should have never been underage drinking, and I should have never gotten myself into a situation like that.
How do you respond to those who question whether or not you're the right person to talk about abstinence?
You know, I hate the word abstinence. I was told someone earlier that today, and I'm not an abstinence preacher, you know. I think that if you want to prevent teenage pregnancy, that's the only option. I talk about in the book how I was on birth control, and obviously it wasn't used effectively, and, you know, abstinence is the only way that you're going to prevent teenage pregnancy, but if you're going to have sex, practice safe sex, very safe sex.
Bristol's relationship with Levi is still tumultuous. In the book, she refers to Levi, who was the father of her 2-year-old son, Trip, as the gnat, who was, quote, constantly spreading false accusations about our family. What are you going to say to your son when he's older and he either reads it or he's told about how you wrote about his father?
She said that it was stolen, but that it was not like that. If you saw the little...
I'm a single mom, and I write about that in my book. And I don't know if Levi will be a big role model or in his life at all, so I'm not worried about it.
How much contact does he have with him now?
Certainly not as much as he's entitled to.
And what are you hoping people picking up the book? What is your underlying hope?
So yeah, you get the point. Bristol is like making a name off of this. Bristol Palin had a show briefly called Life's a Trip, and this episode led to Levi Johnston attempting to seek full custody of their son. I don't think he ever got it.
She's living life with her little boy Trip while cameras are rolling for her reality show. And what's caught on tape may fuel a fight over how she's parenting her son. Trip's father, Levi Johnston.
So yes, Bristol's son is Trip. Sarah's son is Trig, and they're like 7 months apart.
Now that he wants custody. ABC's Neil Karlinski has the very latest. Neil.
Amy, good morning. You know, when it comes to Bristol and Levi, it's sometimes hard to find the line between reality and reality show fodder. But this time, Levi says he's serious. He doesn't think the Palins are doing a very good job raising his son.
Okay, not as much as he's entitled to means that, like, he has opportunities to see him that he doesn't take advantage of. Like, they probably have some agreement that he can take his son, like, every other weekend, and he probably doesn't come to pick him up, is probably what she's, like, saying.
We gotta go to bed.
No, I hate it.
It's a custody battle made for reality television.
It's okay. Be a good boy.
No, I'm not. I hate you guys.
Stop saying that.
If you say it one more time, we're going in timeout.
That is Bristol Palin going toe-to-toe with her 3-year-old Trip, as captured on her little-watched reality show, Life's a Trip. But what comes next isn't just bad behavior by a feisty toddler. It's the spark that set off the boy's father, Levi Johnston.
You're not cute. You're not cute.
I'm trying to...
I hate you. If you say that one more time, you're going to get soap in your mouth. Got it? You think you're... I don't like you.
What did you just say? I can't believe you just said that. I'm doing a terrible job disciplining Trip. Does mommy ever put you in timeout?
No.
He said the F word, not fuck, the gay slur one. As a 3-year-old. I would be less concerned about a 3-year-old saying fuck. Because I'm sure they just heard an adult say it. But for a 3-year-old to say that, you heard an adult say that around you.
It was the F-bomb that rocked Wasilla, Alaska, according to TMZ, which snapped this shot of Levi picking up documents to seek custody of his son. In a statement to ABC News, Levi wrote, "I want full or half custody of Trip. His room is already set up in my house and just waiting for him."
He said that he is disgusted by the behavior that he has seen his son displaying on the show, and he thinks that Trip is in a downward spiral, and that when he's with Bristol and her family, that there is no real parenting going on.
When we caught up with Levi and Wasilla a few years ago, he told us Trip meant the world to him.
It's everything, man. Give everything for him. You'd give everything for him? I'd give anything for him.
Together, Levi and Bristol
Kathy would
are
have been the
magnets
best
for
stepmom.
controversy.
Stop.
But this isn't entertainment, it's parenthood.
He said, go away. Maggot. I'll say maggot. a 3-year-old to say that is crazy as hell. I don't think he ever got full custody, but that, I just had to go through Bristol's lore. I'm sure there's more, but let's go back to the 2008 campaign where we left off. I hope you will agree that was a very, very important side tangent. So back to the 2008 campaign. We'll talk about Bristol again later and some other like weird stuff she did later. But back to Sarah Palin. So this is Sarah Palin on 2020. This is a couple days before the election. This is Halloween, and election day I think was on November 4th or 5th.
And John Stossel.
In just 64 days, Sarah Palin has gone from obscurity to celebrity. Arguably, she's a bigger draw than the presidential candidate who picked her.
She is extraordinarily charismatic with a tremendous ability to connect with her supporters. She is also arguably the most polarizing figure in this year's campaign. As she strives to become America's first female vice president, we sat down to talk about sexism, kids on the campaign trail, and the stinging criticism of her candidacy. Whether her ticket wins or loses next Tuesday, it's likely you haven't heard the last of Sarah Palin.
I know a lot of you all had probably never heard about all of this, like, Bristol drama and all this. I just felt like it was so crazy. I could have done a stream just about that if we're being honest.
She has ushered in a season of Politics Plus.
Senator, I am honored to be chosen as your running mate.
Politics plus instant celebrity. Politics plus instant identification.
I feel that Palin is exactly what we need. She is like me in many ways. I think I'm proud that she's a woman.
8 weeks ago, most of these people hadn't heard of Sarah Palin. 3 days ago in Ohio, they waited hours to see her. She was backstage with her husband, Todd, and the newly famous Joe the plumber, who brought along his new agent.
I think the Republican National Convention was the turning point for her. She arrived, everybody was expecting this kind of mousy governor they'd never heard of from Alaska, and she just blew it out of the park.
More than 37 million people watched her acceptance speech. Her face-off against Joe Biden gave the vice presidential debates their biggest audience in nearly 2 decades. And her appearance on Saturday Night Live brought that show more viewers than it has had in 14 years. But along with the plea-grant attention has come some very harsh criticism about her ability to lead the nation, about her wardrobe, and about alleged claims that she behaved like a diva, the kind of accusation never leveled at a man.
Do you think the campaign coverage of you has been sexist?
Oh, I think there's obviously been double standards there. I mean, talk about my wardrobe and never talking about the male candidate's wardrobe, or the questions posed to me of how will I be able to serve in office and still raise a family? I've never heard that asked of a male candidate.
But is it a double standard? I mean, reporters certainly mocked John Edwards a lot for his $400 haircuts. And when the report did come out about the wardrobe purchase for your whole family, it was a lot of money, $150,000.
It wasn't $150,000. I never saw a final bill. And it's not our property, just the clothes aren't. It was convenient because we showed up for the convention with overnight bags. So it was convenient to have some tools there to be able to borrow.
So yeah, she's just on 2020 talking about double standards and stuff. This was a moment a lot of people got mad at her where Katie Couric asked her a question about the Supreme Court and she just did not fucking know. This is October 1st, 2008, so like in the campaign season.
Why, in your view, is Roe v. Wade a bad decision?
I think it should be a state's issue, not federal government mandating yes or no on such an important issue. I'm in that sense a federalist, where I believe that states should have more say in the laws of
a federalist likes government.
Their lands in individual areas. Now, foundationally also, though, it's no secret that I'm pro-life, that I believe that a culture of life is very important for this country. And personally, that's what I would like to see further embraced by America.
Do you think there's an inherent right to privacy in the Constitution?
I do. Yeah,
That's
I do.
the cornerstone of Roe versus Wade.
I do, and I believe that individual states can best handle what the people within the different constituencies in the 50 states would like to see their will ushered in an issue like that.
What other Supreme Court decisions do you disagree with?
Well, let's see. There's, of course, in the great history of America, there have been rulings that there's never going to be absolute consensus by every American, and there are those issues, again, like Roe v. Wade, where I believe are best held on a state level and addressed there. So, going through the history of America, there would be others, but...
Can you think of any?
Well, I would think of any, again, that could best be dealt with on a more local level.
So I consider myself like a master bullshitter, and I am not good at remembering specific court cases. Like, if you tell me the court case, I'll probably remember what it is, but it's hard for me to pull that from the back of my brain. So I don't know why she wouldn't just say many of our early court cases that did things like created segregation, took away people's land. Like, you could just talk about it vaguely and say many of America's early Supreme Court decisions, and you would still kind of sound like you know what the fuck you're talking about, even if you can't think of a specific case.
Maybe I would take issue with, but you know, as a mayor and then as a governor and even as a vice president, if I'm so privileged to serve, wouldn't be in a position of changing those things, but in supporting the law of the land as it reads today.
So, not the best interviewer on the campaign trail. Another great one from Katie Couric. This is September 30th. She probably opposes.
When it comes to establishing your worldview, I was curious, what newspapers and magazines did you regularly read before you were tapped for this to stay informed and to understand the world?
I've read most of them, again, with a great appreciation for the press, for the media.
Like what one specifically, I'm curious that you...
all of them, any of them that
I've read the whole news.
Been in front of me over all these years.
I have read all of the news. All the news that's out there, I've read it.
I have a vast variety of sources where we get our news to. Alaska isn't a foreign country where it's kind of suggested. It seems like, wow, how could you keep in touch with what the rest of Washington, D.C. may be thinking and doing when you live up there in Alaska? Believe me, Alaska is like a microcosm of America.
This is trigger warning, animals dying. So like if you're vegan or super sensitive, maybe look away. We probably won't watch the whole thing. But she didn't realize that turkeys were being killed behind her in this interview. My dad thought this was so fucking funny.
Sarah Palin goes, she's back in Alaska, and she's going to go pardon a turkey as the governor of Alaska. It makes sense, happens all the time. She reads a cute little poem over it. It seems a little hokey, but everything's good in the world. I almost had some warm feelings, right? Not the kind of warm feelings the conservatives have towards Sarah Palin. But anyway, then she decides to do a little, interview right in front of the turkey farm. Here's the problem. They're slaughtering turkeys at that farm because it's Thanksgiving. Which makes sense. That's what they do. I get it, right? But they're slaughtering the turkeys right behind her. And they asked her, but by the way, before you watch this, you got to understand this thing. They asked her ahead of time, do you want to do it right here? Are you sure? She's like, yeah, it's fine. For those of you listening on the radio or podcasting the show, there's a turkey being stuffed into a machine, fighting for its life and losing behind her. And listen to what she says as well. All right, here we go.
Declining oil prices, are you concerned about any state programs being on the chopping block?
You know, thankfully, we're in a good position still, fiscally speaking. We are in a good position, but it made no sense at $140 a barrel of oil that some lawmakers wanted to spend. We were warning them then, the administration was, that we had to prepare for the day that the price of oil would plummet, which of course it has done. So we had prepared then, reined in the growth of government then, and we will now, that comes into play at this point, where those savings that we had set aside, forward funding, anticipating a drop in oil, accounting for that, all of that comes into play now at $50.
Such a parallel with Trump's Four Seasons moments. The way it just keeps going with the guy behind her. This is Palmgate. These are literally just a bunch of videos from her various woes during the campaign trail.
Asked about the future, Sarah Palin resorted to palm reading.
That short list.
Her own palm. It was a short list that went a long way.
Sarah's
Newspapers and
helping hand.
blogs called it her handy helper, hand jive, handgate.
I mean, who writes notes on their hands? I thought that was a childhood thing.
Cheating? More like reminding. The words on her palm were energy, tax cuts, lift American spirits. She sure lifted the spirits of...
Energy, tax cuts, lift American spirits.
Critics.
If you can't answer the question, what are your priorities, without reading the palm of your hands, maybe you're not the best leader to be leading people.
When asked to name her top 3 things to get done, watch her go to the hand to remember energy.
We've got to start reining in the spending. We have got to jumpstart these energy projects.
This after she just finished mocking President Obama.
Charismatic guy with a teleprompter.
Soon her hand was dubbed the palm prompter and the telepalmer.
12 things Sarah Palin wrote on her hand. Number 1, left.
This was a case where the right hand didn't know what the left hand was saying.
The news
the
at
right
this time
kind
was
of
so
handy
funny.
list: pick up eggs, milk, bananas, and some lunch meat. Have you ever written on your hand any?
Okay, they're just talking to people about handwriting. This is like a bunch of things that people hated her for. I think one of them we already saw. It says the horror. That's from a movie. I don't know.
What insight into Russian actions, particularly in the last couple of weeks, does the proximity of the state give you?
There are next door neighbors, and you can actually see Russia from land here in Alaska.
Well, explain to me why that enhances your foreign policy credentials.
Well, it certainly does. As Putin rears his head and comes into the airspace of the United States of America, where do they go? It's Alaska.
Do you agree with the Bush doctrine?
In what respect, Charlie?
Bush, what do you interpret it to be?
Imagine losing your home and having no job because of the recession.
Ultimately,
And
what
this is
the
what's on
bailout
the
does is help those who are concerned about the health care reform that is needed to help shore up our economy, helping the... It's got to be all about job creation, too, shoring up our economy and putting it back on the right track. So healthcare reform and reducing taxes and reining in spending has got to accompany tax reductions and tax relief for Americans. And trade, we've got to see trade as opportunity, not as a competitive, scary thing, but 1 in 5 jobs being created in the trade sector today. We've got to look at that as more opportunity. All those things under the umbrella of job creation. This bailout is a part of that.
This is what was on the TV while I was playing my Wii.
You said the U.S. should absolutely launch cross-border attacks from Afghanistan into Pakistan to, quote, stop the terrorists from coming any further in. Now, that's almost the exact position Barack Obama has taken. Are you sorry you said it, Governor?
Wait a minute. Before you say, is she sorry she said it? This was a gotcha soundbite. She was
it wasn't a gotcha. She was talking to a voter.
She was in a conversation with a group of people and talking back and forth. And I'll let
she was so clearly given talking points.
In fact, you're absolutely right on. In the context, this was a voter, a constituent, hollering out a question from across an area, asking, what are you going to do about Pakistan? You better have an answer to Pakistan. I said, we're going to do what we have to do to protect the United States of America.
He's been in Congress for 26 years, almost always sided with less regulation, not more.
He's also known as the Maverick, though.
I'm just going to ask you one more time, not to belabor the point, specific examples in his 26 years of pushing for more regulation.
I'll try to find you some and I'll bring them to you. John McCain has a streak of independence in him that I think is very, very important in America today in our leadership. I have that within me also, and that's why John McCain tapped me to be a team of Mavericks, of independence, as a team member in this, on this new team promising the reform. Crush that gridlock.
All right, the bridge to nowhere.
Yeah. I killed the bridge to nowhere.
I told Congress, thanks, but no thanks for that bridge to nowhere up in
Katie Clark
Alaska.
is a
But
hero.
it's now pretty clearly documented. You supported that bridge before you opposed it. You were wearing a T-shirt in the 2006
Like I
campaign
showed
showed
you.
your support for the bridge to nowhere.
I was wearing a T-shirt with the zip code of the community that was asking
Right.
for that bridge.
But you were for it before you were against it. You were solidly for it for quite some
That
time.
bridge to nowhere's
until
haunting her.
Congress-
That's crazy to me that everyone's coming after her for the bridge to nowhere, but like no one's questioning her about any of the other insane shit we already talked about.
For infrastructure being built in the state.
But you turned against it after Congress had basically pulled the plug on it, and after it became a national embarrassment to the state of Alaska. So do you want to revise and extend your remarks?
It has always been an embarrassment. It's been an embarrassment, not just Alaska's projects, but McCain gives example after example after example.
We're never going to spend $3 million again to study the DNA of bears in Montana.
I think we should.
Governor this year requested $3.2 million for researching the genetics of harbor seals, money to study the mating habits of crabs. Isn't that exactly the kind of thing that John McCain is objecting to?
Those requests through our research divisions and our wildlife departments and our universities did come through that system, but wanting it to be in the light of day, not behind closed doors with lobbyists making deals with Congress.
When
she does kind of have a point there.
were mayor of Wasilla, you hired a very prominent lobbyist to get Wasilla money.
We did. We paid $30,000 for a lobbyist who was in D.C. because we're thousands and thousands of miles away from D.C.
What newspapers and magazines did you regularly read before you were tapped for this to stay informed and to understand?
Okay, we saw this one and we're running out of time, so we're going to move on. SNL hit her ass hard. Like, SNL hit her ass and held Tina and Sarah apart. She did the character so well. And yes, they had to beg Tina Fey to do this because she does not like impressions.
Angry eyes?
Well, I have a couple more so we can watch more. This is making fun of the Katie Couric interview.
And now,
you can tell SNL was getting so many views off this because when do you see one SNL skit that's a full 7.5 minutes?
4 of Katie Couric's interview with Alaska Governor Sarah Palin.
And they got the outfits perfect and everything. I included this because Amy Poehler. They recently went on tour together, and I went to go see it, and they were awesome.
Governor Palin, thank you for agreeing to talk with me one more time.
Oh, hey, sure.
Did you enjoy your week in New York City?
I did, Katie, and I wasn't sure I would at first. New York is, of course, home to the liberal media elite, but Todd and the kids had a great time going to the Central Park and the FAO Schwarz and that goofy Evolution Museum.
So it sounds like the trip was a success.
Well, there were some funny moments. For instance, I had 15 to 20 false alarms where I thought I saw Osama bin Laden driving a taxi. I was embarrassed to be
terrible.
wrong, but mostly disappointed I wasn't right. Also, in an effort to bone up on foreign policy, I went to the Times Square area to see a film called The Bush Doctrine. It was not about politics.
Like, they really just ate her up so fucking bad. Like a golden fucking age for SNL. So, back to the campaign. That was a lot of videos, and now I have more. Perfect. St. Louis mentioned. So, this is Sarah Palin voting for herself November 4th, 2008 in Alaska. Yeah, it's pretty anticlimactic, but you get the point. She voted for herself, and then let's get to her talking.
I'll be able to wake up as vice president-elect and be able to get to work in a transition mode with the president-elect, John McCain.
That's not what happened. They lost. Womp womp. This was her family reacting to it, but we're going to skip over it because we have a lot more interesting stuff to talk about. Barack Obama won the election, as we know. This was an article basically about how she had bad media moments and she kind of lost him the election. Whatever. So, she was the first guest commentator on Glenn Beck's Fox News television show on January 19, 2009, commenting on Barack Obama that he would be her president and she would assist to bring progress to the nation without abandoning her conservative views. August 2009, she coined the phrase death panel as a part of the proposed healthcare statement, saying that it would require Americans like herself or her child with Down syndrome to stand in front of Obama's death panel so his bureaucrats can decide on their level of productivity of society and whether they are worthy of healthcare. And many people called this the lie of the year in 2009. Right now, we have to go in front of a corporate death panel, so I don't know if that's better, ma'am. And then in March 2010, she had a TLC show called Sarah Palin's Alaska. She also had a Fox News segment, and then this is just like some random other stuff that she did politically. She founded a Sarah PAC, which was basically a political action committee, described itself as an advocate of energy independence, and they would support like candidates and things like that. She did end up resigning as governor after the election. I think I do have a slide about that. Oh, no, I don't. But yeah, she resigned as governor because she lost the election, and like we saw, there were all those other controversies as well. In June 2010, her defense fund was ruled illegal, and she had to pay back the donations, and then Sarah Pack ended up getting terminated later, so she tried to have like, be a political player behind the scenes, and then she released Going Rogue, like we talked about. It did have very high sales numbers. She went to 11 states in a bus with her family to promote the book. Throughout 2009, she had an interview with Oprah Winfrey, and then November 2010, she published her second book, America by Heart, which includes her favorite speeches, sermons, literature, and portraits of people she admires, some of which she met in her first book tour in rural America. She was also the keynote speaker at the Tea Party convention, and then was a speaker at a different Tea Party rally later. So she was like still very involved in politics post losing in 2008. Levi Johnston created some mess for her in October of 2009. So about a year after she lost the election, he went in, he ended up being in Playgirl later, but he went in an interview saying that she referred to her son who has Down syndrome as the R word and would say, "Where's my R word baby?" Which is insane. And he said, "I think she was joking, but that doesn't make it right." And that's what she would say when she got home from work and would like get the baby from the nanny. So Levi Johnston is still going around smearing her ass. This is when he was dating dating. I don't think they were actually dating. This is when he was in cahoots with Kathy Griffin. And this was his Playgirl magazine from 2010. Which I think is absolutely hilarious that he was in Playgirl magazine and was like talking shit about her. So this is her giving that keynote address at the Tea Party convention in 2010 when all this shit is going on. Yeah, her being ableist like tracks super hard. I'm laughing not because it's funny, but because like of course she fucking said that. Like I'm laughing at her because she's just such a disaster.
Thank you.
We're not going to watch all 59 minutes, but you can if you want. I actually just decided I don't care. Oh well. So she was endorsing people in 2010. She was also doing that Sarah Pack, trying to like give people money and do all of that sort of thing. So she's trying to be like a Republican player. I actually realized I really don't care about the inner workings of the Republican Party in 2010. So we're going to skip over some of that and move on to more interesting stuff, her reality TV moment. So the show was called Sarah Palin's Alaska, and according to Sarah Palin, the show's aim was to bring the wonder and majesty of Alaska to all Americans. It was canceled after one season. I wish that Ryan Seacrest had found the Palins instead of the Kardashians. Here's the trailer, because the Kardashians came out in 2007. So if Ryan Seacrest found the Palins and was making a show about them, I feel like she maybe wouldn't have run for VP because like they're not going to pick someone who's on reality TV. And I just think the world would be very different.
Sarah, you ready?
Oh, gosh. We are somewhere that people dream about.
Family comes first. It's just gotta be that way.
No, boys, go upstairs.
This is
She already got pregnant.
How come we can't ever just be satisfied with tranquility?
I'd rather be doing this than in some stuffy old political office. I'd rather be out here being free.
I didn't even want to be VP. I wanted to be out in the Alaskan wilderness.
All new 8-week television event, Sarah Palin's Alaska, premieres Sunday, November 14th at 9 on TLC.
Should have been on E. Should have been on E. So in 2010, her daughter Willow, who was 16 at the time, was also being homophobic, apparently on Facebook. So this was this interaction where some kid that Willow went to school with or lived around them, I guess, Trey, said, "Sarah Palin's Alaska is failing so hard right now." And Bristol said, "You're running your mouth just to talk shit." Trey said, "Ha ha 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 ha. The show fails, I think. Just opinion, but so do other people. Bristol said, no, you just run your mouth so you'll get a reaction. You're a typical shit talker. Shit talking because you have nothing else going for you. Just like you pretended you didn't know what Dancing with the Stars was. Was she on Dancing with the Stars? What channel? Don't watch that dumb shit, said Willow. And Willow said, and Matt, you effing fat as hell, STFU. And Matt said, man, these Palins really don't like it when you admire them fully. Well, I'm sorry that some people don't like programming. P.S. You're lucky your show goes by votes, not talent. Oh my God. And Bridget said, I'm excited to watch it. They're a really cute family. So apparently Willow said some homophobic stuff as well. I guess that's not in this screenshot. It probably got wiped by Sarah Palin's. And Sarah Palin reportedly unloaded on that student saying, you are so gay, what a maggot, and said that he was a low-life loser. And yeah, so people really didn't like that. She was on Dancing with the Stars. Stop. I need to see this because we already saw Bristol's son using the F word. How did I miss Dancing with the Stars? How the hell did I miss that? That's so unlike me. Oh, she visits Dancing with the Stars. She was not on it. Bristol was on Dancing with the Stars. Got it. Okay. I wanted to see Sarah Palin on Dancing with the Stars. Bristol was on it. I believe that. We can't even get into that right now. So then Bristol Palin's 3-year-old son used a homophobic slur as well. So it just became very obvious this is common language for their family. And then in 2011, apparently Bristol Palin yelled the homophobic slur again at a bar fight because a man reported called Sarah Palin evil, and Bristol said he must be a homosexual and was like just being really derogatory towards this man for no apparent reason. And then a series of unflattering tell-all books emerged, basically talking shit about the family in these different tell-all books. And this, like, just a lot of people became really obsessed with this. And this is when Bristol's ex Levi Johnston came out and he said a lot more stuff too. So it seems like post-election was rough for the Palin family because they really do have a culture of hate in their family. You said it best, a Quick Tribute parking lot. So people thought that she might run later. She confirmed that she was considering running for the White House in 2010, but it would be difficult because of the lamestream media. And then in 2011, she said, it's time that a woman be president of the United States. And then later in 2011, she said she was not going to seek Republican nomination for the presidency. And then in 2014, her family had like an insane fucking fight that had to be broken up by the police in Anchorage. Her husband Todd and son Track were involved in a fight, and her daughter Bristol as well allegedly punched a man repeatedly in the face. Bristol told police, they took my $300 sunglasses, they took my fucking shoes, and I'm just left here. Around 20 people were involved in the fight, and no one emerged the winner. So that's what I mean. Like, this is a very much American family at its best, and at its worst. This is really who we are, people. This is who we are. So around New Year's 2015, she posted this picture of her son standing on top of their dog, which I really don't think is that serious. The dog could move if it wanted to. Some dogs are chill like that. I don't think that this was as big of a deal as some people felt it was. I think it's kind of rude to the dog, but I don't think it's like the most pressing issue of our time. And PETA freaked the fuck out, and she told everyone to chill. She had a longer post, but it was kind of boring. So also in 2015, Bristol Palin announces a second pregnancy out of wedlock. She said, I know this has been and will be a huge disappointment to my family, to my close friends, and to many of you. She had been twice engaged to Levi, like we said. Levi ended up marrying a different woman in 2012, and she got pregnant by a different guy. She really didn't say much about the father, but I think this is really fucked up, and why I was willing to talk shit about her and her pregnancies is because she was a paid abstinence speaker. She was paid $262,000 from a nonprofit to appear in campaigns about abstinence. Imagine if that $262,000 went towards effective sex education. But no, it went towards Bristol Palin, who preaches abstinence, and then she got pregnant again. And we're shocked, and were shocked. And she was listed as an abstinent speaker from a booking agency on their website as well. And she said, please respect Tripp and Mai's privacy. I don't want any lectures and I do not want any sympathy. So. Oh my God, I'm so mad I'm late. I was running my Starbucks alone from 2 to 7:30. Oh my God. Missed out on Sarah Palin slander so I could make caramel macchiatos. I'm so sorry. God. And then in 2016, Levi Johnston sues Bristol Palin. Sorry. Ex-fiance sues Bristol Palin a couple weeks after she gave birth to her second child. This was the fiance Dakota Meyer suing, and she has not publicly identified him, but he's the one that sued her for child custody. So I'm going to guess he's the father. And then in 2016, Track Palin was arrested on domestic violence charges the same day that she endorsed Donald Trump. So he kind of like stole the spotlight on that. So maybe he kind of is a leftist ally that he took attention away from Donald Trump. According to the police report filed by Track's girlfriend, the 26-year-old struck her on the left side of her head near her eye with a closed fist and waved a gun as he threatened to kill himself. So it sounds like Sarah Palin has raised some truly terrible people that are menaces to society. So while her son is getting arrested for domestic violence, she's endorsing Donald Trump.
And we begin with the bombshell endorsement on the campaign trail. No matter where you stand on Sarah Palin, she is a force among conservative voters. And tonight, as you can see, she's on that stage a short time ago declaring she is, quote, proud to endorse Donald J. Trump, throwing her conservative credentials and star power behind the Republican frontrunner.
Yeah, so for a boy, we're thinking Track is wild.
It comes less than 2 weeks before the crucial state of Iowa. And what now for Ted Cruz, who once said of Sarah Palin, she picks winners. ABC's Tom Yamas is at the event in Iowa, and he leads us off live tonight. Tom, good evening.
David, good evening. Just behind me, Sarah Palin has taken the stage.
I kind of like her glitter.
Right next to Donald Trump. So much excitement surrounding this announcement. The candidate who has surprised us throughout the campaign surprises us yet again.
I would like to bring up...
I think when my clip of me on the Teacher Quit Talk podcast, it was on Tom Yamas' show. That's a cool little crossover.
Up, if I might, Governor Sarah Palin. Tonight, Sarah Palin is back.
She's not governor anymore.
Are you ready to make America great again?
Shaking up the Republican race with...
I thought Track was spelled Track, and honestly, that tracks for her. How old was Track? He was 26, I believe. Or the girlfriend was 26? I don't know. I think at this time he would be in his late 20s, just based on her kids' ages when she was running. Yeah, he would be in his late 20s. And then they're still making fun of her. She filed a defamation lawsuit against the New York Times in 2017 because they pointed out a link to an advertisement from her political action committee that styled crosshairs over congressional districts. I don't fucking know. She filed this lawsuit. I don't think it worked out well for her. I'm going to skip over this thing. That's kind of boring. And then John McCain in 2018 said that he regretted picking her as his running mate, which I think is really hilarious. That John McCain, like literally when he was about to die, regretted that he picked Sarah Palin.
He's been my friend, so I'm going to remember the good times. And, it is kind of sad to hear that he or someone speaking for him does have regrets. I want to live my life without any regrets, and I hope that, he finds that kind of peace and contentment also to be able to look back on decisions and realize, really, things work out the way that they're supposed to work out. And
she kind of handled that really well. She's like, I like to live with no regrets, but I guess John McCain's a little less mature than me. And then September 2019, her husband files for divorce. Womp womp. So papers filed that identified by the couple's initials, but the birth and wedding dates match the Palins. So we're not 100% sure it's them, but who the fuck else could it be? There's like 12 people in Alaska. Todd Palin cited incompatibility of temperament as a reason for divorce, and the document mentions that this means they found it impossible to live together as husband and wife. It was SLP and TMP. And the identity that helped like the press match this was the birth date of their minor child, Trig Palin. They asked for joint custody, and it was submitted 8 days after their 31st wedding anniversary. So tragically, that marriage was not one that lasted. This is, I think, one of the last things that we are going to talk about. But in 2020, she was on The Masked Singer. Why the fuck was Sarah Palin on The Masked Singer? And Nick Cannon, derogatory, said that she did it as walking middle finger to the haters. Let's see if she's good. I did not know this was the song. What is happening? This is a macro aggression. Why couldn't she pick a normal song? She was the first to be eliminated. I know other countries are laughing at us. They have to be. Other countries have to be laughing at this. I refuse to believe this is another timeline bleeding into ours. The aliens must have so much fun laughing at us. I told you all, this stream is fucking insane. Girl, you're never gonna believe who it is. I cannot wait to see the audience reaction. Are we in trouble?
She put it on her Glasgow's Governor Sarah Palin! Holy snap! Wow.
Everyone's face!
And she was rapping! My goodness, can you guys believe? She had every lyric to Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back! This might be the most shocked I've ever been on this show. Wow. Why the bear?
Well, the bear is part of my nickname growing up, and you know the whole mama bear thing, and they're in Alaska.
I choose to believe this is Tina Fey.
Yard, so bear was easy.
And you made the rapping look easy.
Hey!
Are you not just as shocked as I am?
I mean,
yes.
Wow.
Stunned beyond belief. You kicked butt, Sarah Palin.
Respectfully, I'm gonna disagree with you. And I put this because, again, Nick Cannon said it was a middle finger to the haters. And, like, I don't feel like I got put in my place at all by that. Like, I feel like a middle finger to the haters is when you do something really cool. And, like, okay. For sure, Doc, you went on The Masked Singer. That's awesome. And then Sarah Palin, I should have laughed, somebody died. Sarah Palin was not invited to John McCain's funeral. Spoiler alert, he died in 2021. And John McCain's wife, or is that his wife? I think. Cindy McCain wrote that in the 14 months John had been sick, she never spoke to him once. And Sarah Palin said she tried to arrange a visit, so it doesn't seem like she was on great terms with the McCain family. Thank you to those of you that were here for this tech problem filled 2 hours and 18 minutes. No stream next week because I'm going to be at the beach. I was going to bring my computer, but I don't think the Wi-Fi is going to be very good there. And then I just didn't think it was going to work. So I didn't want to promise it and it not work. So you are free next week. You have no school on Tuesday of next week. The following week on June 25th, we will be talking about Miss Lisa Barlow. Lisa Barlow is from The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, but if you are not a Real Housewives fan, it will still be good. So that'll be, again, 7 p.m. Eastern, June 25th. I wish I could take you all with me. Amazing stream tonight. Tech issues to be damned. Twitch was really trying to fight tonight. No, it really was. And this is my meme that I created while we play the game. Feel free to be making your own memes. We had some incredible meme material tonight. Like from the baby daddy drama to the possible fake pregnancies to the masked singer to all the fuck ups on the campaign trail. Let me actually do a poll. Tonight was very video heavy. Do you guys like that? I kind of do because we're watching them together. But if you don't like it, I cannot do it that way. Video heavy. Love it. Hate it. Don't care. So this is society if Ryan Seacrest had discovered the Palins instead of the Kardashians and Sarah was never the VP. I think that is just a great, great meme. So let's go ahead and play the freaking game. I like clips, but not longer videos. So like a 2-minute max, I feel like, and I feel like tonight had too many right in a row. I mean, it really was a roller coaster. Okay, I'm seeing love it and don't care, so that's perfect. So let's do Carnival to really stick with the masked singer theme, unless they have something new, which they do not. Love the video heavy. I do too. I feel like this chat could appreciate. I recently named my own lip gloss Prostitution Whore after my favorite Real Housewives moment. Oh my God. So this is a game. It is 10 questions about what we learned about tonight with Miss Sarah Palin. I don't want your email. I don't want money. You don't have to make an account. I don't want your data. I don't want any of that. If you want to play the game, you just go to join.nearpod.com or click the app that I sent you or click the link that I sent you. If you do it on your phone, it's going to be like, download the app. You don't have to. You can do it in a browser. You can just click the X and make that go away. Last time I checked, you can do this on your phone. You can do this in a new tab on your computer. Loved the stream of us just watching TV. I like the videos if I make it to stream and don't have to watch the YouTube. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. So I will give people a second to join. It is going to ask you for your name. You can put your name if you want, but it will come up on my screen. So you can also just kind of put something like jokey and funny if you would like. So I'll give people some more time. I see Tina Fey here. A Dutch Bros parking lot. Polls by. Yeah, we had a very poll heavy night tonight. What do you get from Starbucks? So I know a lot of people are boycotting Starbucks right now, even though they're not on the official boycott list. I don't live near a Starbucks, so I don't really have to make a choice because I don't go anyway. When I did get Starbucks, because I used to get Starbucks every day, I would get an iced caramel macchiato venti every single day of my life. I think it was giving me a lot of acne from all the dairy. Now I don't really like that anymore. Now I do at home a shot of espresso with some creamer in it is what I drink every morning. So if I go to Starbucks now, I like some of the holiday drinks like the peppermint mocha. I like that. I like the little strawberry refresher, but I do not like the strawberry chunks in it. I hate the texture. I get it without the chunks. I like some of their coffee drinks, but I feel like Starbucks isn't as good as it used to be. I used to always get iced stuff, but the last couple times I've gotten iced, it was like watery or bitter, like the beans were burned. So now I get hot stuff. I feel like hot stuff goes wrong less than iced stuff. But yeah, not as much of a Starbucks girly as I used to be. So I'll give people like another 10 seconds to join. Not a caramel macchiato queen. I literally called you out when I joined the stream. I know. I was a caramel macchiato girly, though. Quad shot, large. Every day. My first year teaching, I had that every single day for breakfast. I'm my God, now people in the TikTok chat are yelling me about the Starbucks boycott. I literally talked about it. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and hit start on this game. If you have not joined, it will let you still join late. And someone asked me this, your points come from if you're right and how fast you are. Who did we learn about today? I love Caribou coffee. I don't live near one, but I've had it. They're my favorite. So good. There's lots of pictures on this game. TikTok, I'm going to go ahead and say goodnight to you. If you want to join, I wasn't yelling. I just said I just joined, so I mentioned it. It's okay. If you want to join, my Twitch is on my page, but I'm going to go ahead and say goodnight to TikTok. Do you see what I mean? They're literally so sensitive. Like, not to talk shit, but like, everybody relax. Where was Sarah governor? Like, imagine drinking 16 ounces of pure 2% milk. Alaska. How many children does Sarah Palin have? I debated being messy and putting 4 children as an option, but I decided not to. I want to try Dutch Bros. Speaking of coffee, I want to try Dutch Bros so bad. Which popular celebrity terrorized the Palin family via Levi Johnston? Kathy Griffin. Who portrayed Palin on SNL? Better question, how many are actually Bristol's kids? It was Tina Fey. No, I was not going to do y'all dirty, making you pick between Tina Fey and Sarah Palin. What pageant did Palin win? This one's hard. Miss Wasilla. She came in 3rd for Miss Alaska, but she was the #1 governor of Alaska. Not by approval ratings. What television show was Palin on in 2020? In the long run, John McCain regretted picking Sarah. True or false? Y'all are quick tonight. I love it. Y'all said it's almost bedtime. Let's wrap it up. I kind of want ice cream. Why is there no stream next week? I could never get a BBL. I hate surgery. It takes so long to recover from a BBL. So glad I completed the pipeline. Me too, Oat Milk Chaos, and you really were contributing a lot to the chat. I appreciate that. What are we learning about the week after next week? It's on my screen. Not to call you out. I try and make a little jokey joke with my wrong answers. Alrighty. I don't know why it's not loading. I stay late just for you. Aw, Shan, thanks. Nice job, a parking lot to nowhere. Aaron, a lizard breath. Kim, abstinence baby. Sarah C, Emily, Tina Phelan, Melly Lynn 95, a Dutch Bros parking lot. Caitlin, a Republican maternity test. Chi-Town Shorty, professional bumpets. Allie, Eminem, Bridge to Nowhere parking lot. Peach, is that Tina Fey? And Kathy Griffin. So, any memes that were created, I will wait a few moments to let you deliver your memes. Congratulations to my winners. If you did not win, better luck to you next time. Do the winners get anything? No, they get admiration, fame, glory, but they do not have a financial incentive. So I will sit here patiently as I await your Sarah Palin memes. I love when we're here for a good 2.5 hours. Did you see this? This is what you're voting for when you vote Sarah Barracuda. I'm Kathy Griffin. I'm having this baby. May I present to you the Republican VP candidate of 2008. Stream idea, the writing process of post-Hunger Games YA dystopian novels. I unfortunately have never written one, so I do not know if I am the person to ask about that, but hopefully someone out there can help you out with that one. And yes, thank you all for being here. I will see you in 2 weeks. I loved this stream. I really wanted to put all I had into it since I'm not going to see you next week. I will go ahead and call it there. And yes, everything's figured out for grad school. I'm fine. It was so fucking annoying, but we're in a fine place now. Thank you for being here. I am live pretty much every Tuesday. It's rare I take a week off. And yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for being fun. And I will see you in 2 weeks for Miss Lisa.